our dear former president, Muhammad Buhari, RIP, died far away in London.
RIP to the man, but to his tenure in office. Being president is a job. If you can't do it, don't do it. It's not a retreat. It's not a holiday. It's not where you go and take selfies. You go to work to fix the country. I don't think you can find a worse Nigerian leader who has overseen this country than him.
Buhari is the worst president Nigeria ever had.
Yeah.
I think it was terrible. Terrible. Oh my God. Hello everyone, welcome to Drinks and Mics, brought to you by Nairametrics. My name is Ugodre Obichuku. Yeah, I realize I hardly put my surname when I'm talking about, we're introducing ourselves, right? Yeah, the one and only. And you're welcome to Drinks and Mics, of course. We do this every Friday, 6 p.m. on this channel. And of course, this is likely going to be one of our most interesting episodes because I have someone exciting on the show today. But before we get there, right, I just want to get some things out of the way.
Okay.
A number of things out of the way. One thing out of the way. It's someone's birthday here today, and I don't know why people are excited about it, right? Because it's not really something that
You care about.
yeah, not really something I care so much about. But I mean, I've been told I have to like wish him happy birthday on set today. So
Reluctantly.
it's his birthday. Yeah, so I mean, it's what you do for your junior brothers, right? This is happy birthday. And to celebrate his birthday, 2 years in youth tattoo. Like imagine, our one boys, like
You can now call him The Rock.
They don't fear again.
It's fantastic. It's yeah.
I'm sorry, do you want to ask where it's from? I'm like,
No, I've already asked. I wanted to know the tattoo artist's name.
Yeah,
so,
the clone,
it's
yeah.
pretty, very beautiful. Well done. Hold on. No, hold on.
And then notice the white kaftan and the anointing that it comes with it.
that's what the world has done to these days. The world is
And it's wearing gold.
Yeah.
It's very golden.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we just
New-
get
hold on.
people who
New age.
it's your birthday.
Golden age.
I see what you did there.
Is that digital or is that physical?
Anyway, it's Tunji's birthday, so I mean,
Tunji.
please go
Happy
in your comment
Thanks.
section and just wish him,
Thanks.
happy birthday.
birthday.
No trolls.
It's not like thing with.
I do have a bone to pick
I
with the
know
production
that-
team. The 1 second.
Oh, well.
You guys did a walk-in for his birthday. It was my birthday last week. I didn't get any love.
Happy belated.
Yeah.
Paparazzi was
And I'm
not-
very sensitive.
Yeah.
It's because you're not wearing white
I'm a very
kaftan.
sensitive guy.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh no, did you wear a white
Yeah.
kaftan
I
for
don't
your
wear
birthday?
white.
It was Adol's birthday, and they didn't
2
just
weeks ago,
like.
so, yeah,
Happy belated.
guys.
Happy
I'm
belated.
actually I'm very hurt. I'm very wounded.
Yeah.
Anyway, like I mean, we'll do a special.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Sorry to
Tunji.
steal your shine on your birthday. It's just what I do.
July babies, something about them that's I just can't.
Yeah.
Just can't deal with. Anyway, back to regular schedule and more important things. We have here today guest on the show. You already heard him already. Chizi Obiora. Chizi Obiora is the co-founder, CMO.
It's me, you guys.
Zuri. What's
Zuratu.
Yeah,
So Zuratu
Zuratu.
is-
What does that mean?
So it's again, I get a lot of bones to pick with Nigerians because they're like, "Why are you naming?" So Zuratu in Swahili means beautiful people. And that's because
what's beautiful people call in Yoruba?
I don't know.
In Igbo.
In the Malman.
So doesn't that sound nice as a company?
It's just again, it was where the inspiration for the company hit. We'll get to
okay.
that later
Yeah.
on. But I'm trying to pay homage. Yeah, I'm trying to be really like properly African as well because it's like Nigerians, you guys take up too much space and all those things. But yeah, that's
Our names take up space.
No, they say we like so because
Okay.
inspiration hit in Kenya. With my co-founder, he's more of a creative person. We said, okay, let's just do a nod and call it beautiful.
Thinking about it though, how come we don't name companies in like local
Native
language?
languages.
Yeah, I mean, I like that our bar is.
Yeah, I think it's a
like
beautiful
native.
concept.
Yeah,
I absolutely think. I think it's a really beautiful.
like we tend to like
Yeah.
name companies like English name like
Actually, you're asking
Nairametrics. Nairametrics is Nigerian.
Yeah.
Like, Naira is Nigerian. You don't know
The
that?
metrics are gone.
Metrics.
It's Nigerian too. It depends on how you
What's
pronounce
metrics
it.
in Igbo? What's metrics in Igbo?
Oh, Yoruba.
Good question.
I'm tired of these guys. Anyway, guys, we go into. We start today's session on a rather solemn note. We heard the news, or I mean, it's all over the news. our dear former president, Muhammad Buhari, RIP, died far away in London. And second president that we've lost in about 15 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, about that. And second, well, I don't know if it's... when did Shagari die, though? Can't recall again, but we lost another president. Not always good losing a president, regardless of what you think or which side of the political divide you find yourself in. Someone is dead, someone is dead, and so we will start by maybe like doing a little bit of review. We did talk Buhari once here. It was a very interesting show. We had somebody ride on this seat and. It was hot.
She tore him a new one.
Wow, like she tore into it. When did Buhari get it wrong then? Do you think he was maybe unlucky?
Buhari was hopeless.
Wasn't he just unlucky?
Wow.
Do you think he was unlucky?
As I said,
An absolute
you see why?
disaster.
So I don't know if she still has those sentiments, but I kind of think she does though. Because anyway, so guys, I mean, Buhari dead, Buhari in London, a lot of comments out there. Some people, I mean, obviously angry. You can't blame them because to a lot of people, Buhari meant a lot of very bitter memories and bitter things. And to people who actually love him, I mean, he also meant a whole lot more as well. So, but here we basically talk marketing and the economy, and so we're going to look at things from those perspectives. And so I want to start with cheesy.
Really going really somber? As in, it's.
I think
we're not going somber. We're just starting. Are we meant to be?
Also, it's a sober time.
It's your birthday, but I mean,
it's also
we got
a
to
sober
start
conversation.
first.
A somber conversation.
Yeah.
We could do a moment of silence for him and all of that. It's the only thing I'm
moment of silence, and you're opening the drink without respect.
Sorry, no vex. No, I want to remove this thing first.
There are drinks and mics
to pour a libation for those who have passed before us.
Should we find him?
Sorry.
Should we find him?
So the Charter of Drinks and Mike says you can't find those wearing white kaftan. It's just a thing.
No. There's no charter. There's no charter. It's respect is respect. So long as there's drinks. Otumba understands.
And then there's Mike as well.
Yes, Otumba understands. Anyway, so back to more serious matters. We lost the president. Just wanted to get your views on Buhari, economically or market. So how
Buhari-nomics.
Yeah, I think so. As a person, I've tried generally not to criticize a person, but to point at like specific actions.
Yeah.
And for him, I kind of break down what he did into three main buckets, right? The first bucket was kind of like how he came in, which at the time he came in, the goal was, again, plug leakages, try and bring some kind of security to the system. And in some ways, like get government more active in supporting like local development, like things that sort of ease poverty, right? And at the time when he came in, I think all prices were fairly stable, and then they crashed like fairly quickly soon afterwards. So I think for me, like when it comes to the social aspects, I think he made some decent efforts as well. Some of the trader money stuff, some of the disbursements to local farmers and things like that. But I think when you step away from that into the bigger metrics related to security issues, there's still gaps there. Some of the policy decisions that were taken, sort of even in the backdrop of the recession, kind of put Nigerians lower into the poverty line on the average. So there's a question mark there. Policies around FX, management were also very, very tight, where there's like that whole arbitrage between the official rate and the unofficial rates as well. Some people made money from that. Some other people were impacted. So I think on the overall, I would say maybe good intentions, but execution left the gap, which then, because the way I think about life these days, I'm looking at poverty level and sort of quality of life. And that's where a lot of the people who are on the opposing side of the camp say that he was like not so great on the economic indicators. And again, that's just being like, very transparent and focusing on the actions and not criticizing the man or anything or trying to vilify anyone. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It was the man that did it.
No. I think sometimes we
what do
need
you
to be lighter a little bit, right? So we need to look at the global macro picture where the world was when Buhari came into power, right? I like to say and exaggerate when I tell this story that we saw oil go from $100 to $20 to in what felt like overnight, right? And you have to also look at, obviously there were measures that were taken that perhaps was poor execution or just the culture just didn't work out. But to a degree, you understand the measures that were taken in terms of, okay, our main revenue generator, oil, is gone. I like to talk about financial repression, which I know we don't like here because we're all wonderful capitalists and economic
I don't mind
men. But financial repression, where it's like, okay, you see the world falling apart, there's a crisis coming, and you really try going through some sort of protectionism economics, right? So you close your borders, you stop money from going out, right? Because you need to protect your currency.
Yeah.
You need to protect your markets. You close borders for imports. I understand the economics behind that in terms of financial repression. You also suppress interest rates, try and get money to move, right? So you lend to the
in the system.
You force central banks or maybe encourage banks or whatever financial systems to lend to productive or industries that need to be productive in the economy. And I see the blueprints. And perhaps it's the execution that he got wrong, and obviously maybe execution that Emefiele got wrong with the culture that we had, that we just didn't understand, that things weren't explained to us properly. But sometimes I see the blueprints and trying to protect what you have based on the macro picture. And we also need to remember in this period, we saw Ethiopia defaults in Eurobonds. So Zambia, so copper prices go crazy because also remember the super oils, the super commodity cycle ended.
Yeah.
So pre-Buhari was super commodity cycle. So
2013
was making money.
Yeah.
If you were a gold producer Ghana, you were making money. Platinum South Africa was making money. Copper Zambia was making money. Nigeria oil was making.
Yeah.
It was a good time for Africa
in general.
and then
African rising period.
iron ore, Guinea.
Steel
was good because of steel demand in China.
Right.
So Africa was good, right? And then you had the end of this super commodity cycle. Unfortunately, Buhari came into power then.
At that time.
Same period, you saw Ghana defaults, you saw Zambia defaults, you saw Ethiopia defaults, you saw everyone
But I
shaky.
thought their defaults came much later.
No, the defaults came in. If you think
It was off the
it's
back
the same
of-
period. It's the same. I'm sort of looking at it as political period.
Yeah.
It's the same political period as Buhari, like Ghana, Zambia, and all these guys defaulted, right? So it wasn't just Nigeria in a bad place. And I could see, like I said, the blueprints of financial repression where they were perhaps taking a leaf of China. With things they were doing and reforms that they put in place in the early 90s when you saw the Asian crisis. Perhaps it was the execution that they got wrong. So I think sometimes you have to sort of...
context.
Yeah, context. Global context.
Sanjay doesn't necessarily agree with you, so let's hear him.
Yeah.
I don't agree. So the first thing is this, right?
What don't you agree with? Everything he said.
Everything.
Everything. So you don't think
first of all,
the super commodity cycle was over?
Let's start
bull
start
cycle.
from the fact that being president is a job. If you can't do it, don't do it. It's simple. It's not a retreat. It's not a holiday. It's not where you go and take selfies. You go to work to fix the country, right?
So where you sit down and watch TV and
Exactly.
put stuff
So
in your
whatever era you came into is no excuse. You get the job done. And the fact is, this guy oversaw a recession and a half. First Nigerian president ever. First Nigerian leader ever. Second thing is
First Nigerian leader to do what exactly?
oversee a recession and a half.
What's the recession?
What's it now?
It's like a really-
It was almost two. It was
a
almost
really
two
sad
recessions.
case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So recessions. Okay.
Two
got it.
recessions. A
Back to back,
recession
yeah.
and a half.
Yeah.
Now, the second thing was that his border closure. We spoke about this one time, and the financial repression is a model.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with the model of financial repression. However, it doesn't look like that was what he was doing. He felt, he felt somehow Trump-light in terms of these guys are taking advantage of us. Close the borders. Do not let them bring their
But
stuff in.
was that the
We
rhetoric
will
he
have
gave,
to.
though?
But that was what he was saying. It was like, we will
Well,
have to.
neighboring countries
We
are
said,
taking-
they're taking
Protecting
advantage of our
local
rice.
industries.
They're selling rice to us. They're doing this, so we need to get our own rice. So keep your things on your own side.
Yeah.
Now, the truth about it is that no economy is an island, especially not Nigeria, especially because of those things that come through those borders and because of the effect, the follow-on effect into inflation.
Yeah.
It's critical, it's important.
Yeah.
We saw galloping inflation during this period. He was also it was not the president that appointed the CBN governor, but he kept him for a second tenure.
Yeah.
And the CBN governor, I mean, the stories are all out there, right? We see all the things that he did. So you can't, there's no excuse, right? RIP to the man, but to his tenure in office, I don't think you can find a worse Nigerian leader who has overseen this country than him in the period to which he came, and not as a military head of state, as a civilian president. I don't think you can find a worse president to have ever.
Okay, let me ask you that. You've taken a look at the global picture that I just painted, right? Especially coming from an amazing period where everything is all good, things are good. And then all of a sudden you're getting a dry up. Even our FPI was drying up, right? FPI wasn't just drying up because of Nigeria. FPI was drying up because globally,
high interest rate environment at some point.
Everything looked different. The global picture was different. And where our markets, our FX markets, our stock markets, bond markets were enjoying the free money coming in. This free money that then had to suffer obviously with the macro picture being bleak. What would you have done different? Just looking at everything that I've just spoken about.
With the bag you got handed.
First of all, one of the biggest mistakes we made was that FX policy that the CBN governor under him started. Now, when you...
That FX policy has always existed before anyways, but go on.
No, I mean, it was the somersault, right? From what happened.
Well, you know, it had to be somersault because the exit was aggressive. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like I talk about the global...
No, let him cook. Let him cook.
That was one side.
Right.
When you put that side by side border closure, which we achieved nothing between the time we closed and we opened it. When you put that side by side, you start to wonder what sort of madness that we all sat down and watched this happen to an economy that was, so yes.
Largely input driven.
Exactly. Now, the fact is, there is a lot of imperfections in the way Nigeria's economy is structured. And I agree with that, right? And the global macro wasn't great. So definitely was going to hit us. However, if we did not add the self-inflicted measures or policies, we would have fared better. At least I can bet you that dollar to a naira, a naira to the dollar will not be 1,600 or 1,500 or
that was
whatever.
by him though.
But
he left it out. He left that 1 to 7.
It was the damage that he created. It was when you opened it that it had to find its
But
it had to find its level.
We've been defending our currency for something. Part of like
let's hear Chizzy.
Yeah. So Arnold, on that point that Tunji made, I think one of my grasses with the administration then was there was too much of an arbitrage between official and the They actually let it run riot. And obviously some people on the streets would say, look, lots of guys made money overnight because of that round tripping in between both of them. I think that was an issue. One other thing as well, in that time as well, I had an issue with, especially coming into COVID. Countries around the world dealing with COVID, dealing with all sorts of protests and things like that. Sitting as a Nigerian kid, person, whatever, watching what's going on October 2020, right? With people protesting, police things and stuff, and how the government came in, how the army came in, how innocents died, that also hurts as well, right?
Yeah,
so that's another thing that if I was going to criticize the man, it's like, again, as a president, to Tunji's point, your number one job is kind of to protect your people and then make sure that they don't fall deeper into poverty. So those are like two things that I would I think about as really dark points in our, in our economy and in our sort of national polity. But
some data here though from our friends at SBM Intelligence. They say here GDP per capita down 38%. Inflation numbers, he left it at 24.6%.
Yeah,
double where I think he met it. Oil output down 30%.
Yeah.
One doctor to 9,000 patients or so. Data, 10.5 million kids out of school, 15,000 plus violent deaths per year average.
Yeah.
Debt 4 times increased. And then they summarize it as a result, poorer, less secure, deeper in debt.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's pretty easy to point out a lot of the negatives of the downsides of the administration or of the party, because I actually see this as a party problem. Even though sometimes I think we like to see this as a one-man problem. I like to see this as a party problem, right? Even though some would say maybe we don't practice party politics. During Buhari's tenure, every single person in the ruling political class supported every single thing that he said or he did, or every single economic policy. I cannot recall one person who did not support it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I just want to know who in the current, ruling class.
I feel this is a setup.
It's not a setup.
No,
I'm
I
just
think it's a
asking,
setup because
who
I
exactly
can see already- I
didn't
can already see
criticize and
He's
say,
trying
look,
to say name.
was there anybody?
So
anybody who said, you know what?
during when you
Let's take away subsidy. Let's float the naira in the current ruling class. I just want to know if there was anybody.
Can I chip in on that one?
Yeah.
So I was catching up with friends on Sunday, and one of my friends said that one of his personal gripes with the administration at the time was with commodity prices, right, as Arnold said, going into the ground, in fact, under the ground from 2014 onwards, 2015, 2016 onwards. Like, that's the time you actually pull the subsidy out, because prices are so low that people are not going to feel them.
No, I don't disagree with that.
Oil even hit
my point
zero.
is that my question is that
COVID.
was there anyone
Who shouted and
in
said,
the current
yeah,
party, ruling class, especially those that plus the president, the vice, and the top dogs
Yeah.
that criticized the
What he
economic
was doing.
policy
I don't think
under
so.
Buhari's 8 years? There was none.
So this is
So-
going to, this is going to
So
this is
why
going to
does it
earn
look
me-
like it was just one man? Like,
Any
who
more-
out there said,
No,
"Oh,
no,
look,
every
I don't
more-
agree with this policy.
No,
we gotta
no,
change."
no, literal.
But
None.
let's push this. Let's push this. This is
Yeah.
going to earn me some comments. The present administration, same party,
Yeah,
pound for pound, they seem to have gone in a different direction from him on many issues.
Yeah.
It might not be that they didn't. It might be that they didn't see anything at the time, but it's clear they disagree. Because
it's clear.
It's clear because
How-
from
how
day
is it
one
clear?
of office, he says subsidies going.
yeah.
So that it didn't occur to him
I
that
hope
day.
you realize
this morning.
that Buhari did remove subsidy during I think it was in PIE. Subsidy was technically removed. It was meant to have been removed a year after. It's just that he didn't have the balls to figure it out on the spot. But in terms of policy, subsidy was on paper
Okay,
removed.
so we see.
So my point is that, because I don't want us to dwell too much on it, because I tend to see a lot of all this back and forth. And it's always very interesting. The history at the end of the day will tell, right? By the time people that are a lot less emotionally and connected, involved, would probably
analyze
be
it
able to
from
discern.
Yeah.
But what I tend to just see is, look, we had leaders, the 8 years to 2023, who ran an economic policy, albeit whether, good intention or bad intention, that was a disaster. That turned out being a disaster.
So we
Right?
agree. We all agree. with that.
Regardless of whether
Wherever we are on the divide.
they were served bad with. I think 2015 was collapse of crude oil prices.
Yeah.
2020 as maybe
COVID.
things were looking okay. Then COVID, because I remember 2018, 2019, exchange was fairly stable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID now hit. Regardless of all that,
everything.
Yeah.
the policy actions that address those issues turned out to be a disaster, right?
Yeah.
And there was really no way out. There was nothing else. You couldn't obviously continue in that direction. So it just made all the sense to go orthodox. And so we've now seen orthodoxy happen. And now, but
let me
to
ask
also
you.
state that while a lot of us do agree with the current, policy direction, or at least on the macro level, we're seeing a lot of
Some easing.
a lot of results.
Yeah.
But the people on the streets are still, poverty is still pervasive.
Rampant, yeah.
People are suffering, it's tough,
Yeah.
and all that. But I think it's a very good. It's a history. It's important for everyone to understand that. Look, this is what really, and to Tunji's point, this is really how leaders are born and made. This is like Winston Churchill did not become the person he is
When crude oil prices were high.
there was a war.
Yeah.
His economy was about to be defeated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
he
then
made some tough decisions.
he made
Yeah.
tough decisions that paid out.
Yeah.
That paid off. So that is leadership at the end of the day. So it's really taking those tough decisions, and sometimes contrarian decisions that just sort of pays off.
And then actually, sorry, one more thing to add as well. You talk about Winston Churchill and sort of World War II. I think leaders also, and part of like the tough decisions that needed to be made by Churchill then, he was actually communicating with his people through it, the wireless, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that leaders on this side of the, of the Atlantic, whatever, need to actually learn. Like, talk to your people. We're not idiots.
Barry wasn't very good at that.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
A lot of
Talk
all
to
those
people.
A lot of all those media chats.
Yeah,
where
talk folks through. Like, imagine a leader came up and said, guys, it's going to be a tough 24 months ahead. Here's why.
Yeah.
But we are
This is what
together. We're working for
to,
you.
yeah,
Here's what we're trying to achieve. Bear with us. Like, people rally
Well, how
around.
is it so? How is it that one person,
Yeah.
one leader, really has very negative views from different generations of Nigerians? Like older generations
Yeah.
don't have a very good view of him.
Yeah.
The younger ones are really pissed at him, particularly because of NTARS and how that turned out.
Yeah.
And then the middle class feel like the so-called middle class that existed before.
Yeah.
Feel
Wiped
like
out.
Yeah.
I think
like
it's one
the Japa,
word.
I love them. So like
Yeah. I think it's one word because Bloomberg, when they did the article on him, profiling after his death, they said Nigeria's aloof president. For someone to be aloof, right, it means, pardon my French, if they're, again, let me not get into the French,
They
but
don't give a, he doesn't give a,
like,
they don't hear, they're not there, they don't really.
Doesn't give two.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Like, if they had two in their back pocket and you needed one to save you, they wouldn't
they
give
don't give
it.
you,
That's what aloof means, right? And that's not even being emotional or anything. That's just being like looking at the facts, the data, as we say. So I think that's the reason.
I still remember his speech that quelled NSARS. You know when you say, "Don't try me," without saying "Don't try me."
Yep,
It was like
I remember that.
It felt what I was hearing, not what you were saying.
Yeah.
What I was hearing was, "Oh, you these children.
Yeah.
If I catch you,
Yeah, it felt like the return of 83, 84.
you get."
Yeah,
But the funny thing, Jonathan did same though.
But you know what's
Jonathan
funny?
did same.
What's funny?
Did you
is-
forget I
When?
still remember the fuel subsidy protest.
January 1st.
Yeah, people forget that. It was brutal as well. The way it was quelled was also brutal. I can remember very well.
Yeah.
I had the boss who told me that the soldiers are going to be out soon. You guys are going to go. I'm like, no, boss, this is it. This is the final. This is it. And then one morning they just.
But
came
isn't
to-
that why most? I mean, I don't want to get political, but please forgive me, man.
Yeah.
But isn't that why? I remember when Buhari was running and people wanted to vote for Buhari, a lot of people were saying, "This is what Nigeria needs.
Discipline."
Nigeria needs someone who will
And that's a
fill up
good
the
point,
streets."
really. So what does Nigeria need?
So
Because it appears
now
that
you
you don't
got
seem
what
to know what
Nigeria
we
needs.
need.
What those people-
Because now we actually have a strong leader. Politically, like I always say on this show, this is the strongest president Nigeria has ever had.
Define strong.
It's big man
Politically.
politics. Big man politics.
Politically
in
now,
terms of
big man.
politics.
politically. Yeah, I don't know, politically, whether it's
He just
the
knows how to
National
play the
Assembly,
The game.
you can always say that, in quote, in his pocket.
Kept them in line.
Yeah, like
House of cards.
Yes, he's basically in charge.
Yeah.
And so what do you want? Did we just want a fine boy politician leader or what?
So what?
Somebody
what-
just speaks English like Tunji? Is that what we're looking for?
No. I think it's not
That's
the
here.
English.
Let's leave that in.
That's your speaking English.
I think it's not the English. It's a cross between being able to take the very hard decisions, but also understanding that Nigerians aren't stupid. A lot of it requires that conversation of, like you said, the next 24 months is going to be hard, but we're going to work through it. And, these people will be giving you month to month, blow by blow accounts of what's going on. If we fail, we will let you know we failed and we'll let you know what we're trying to do to recalibrate. But the general idea is you want to carry the Nigerian people along, which is my entire grasp with this particular administration, because it just feels like they're doing their own thing. And because, like, again, he's a very, very strong man president,
Yeah.
he feels I could do it With
or without you.
With or without you. You know,
Yeah.
I think there was one time he was giving a speech and he says they abused the hell out of him. And it is true, you know, in social media, there's a lot of insults on him. But I still believe that as a leader, you don't shy away from talking to your people, whether they insult you or not.
Yep.
You still come out and still give the speeches, you still give the talks, you still carry them along. You know, this is where we're going to, this El Dorado, we're going there. We've our tire just broke.
Yeah.
You know, the engine.
This is what we're doing to fix it.
But we're going to
All
El
right,
Dorado.
guys, we gotta move. Spent too much time already on this. So rest in peace to Buhari and to his family. From those of us here at Drinks and Mics.
Family too.
I mean, the family commiserating to him. Condolences to his family. Condolences to his
Let me
family.
just say RIP to him and his family.
RIP to him and condolences to his family.
Yeah.
Okay, so we quickly move on to next topics. I mean, like bulls are on steroids, guys. I mean, like it's been crazy globally. US markets non-stop. I was reading as well. The UK FTSE or so is probably at its
9,000.
All-time
highest
highs.
level ever.
Ridiculous.
So we're seeing everything go up. Cheesy, what's going on? Like, why are we seeing? Like, where is all this money coming from? Why are we seeing global
Who
markets
has the
go?
answer to all these questions?
Yeah, just what are you
I think-
seeing? Like, what's
Yeah, I think for me, the two things that come to mind is number one, we've come out again, we're middle of 2025, we've come out of a period where there was a lot of wait and see at the start of the year, right? Where folks leading up to US elections were like, which way is it going to go? After US elections, like, which way will the orange guy go as well? And then now, I think the markets are fairly kind of jaded. One, a lot of stuff is priced in, and two, it's like at some point there's a lot of change going on technology-wise. Nuclear energy transition, you know, AI, you know, semiconductors, all that stuff. So it'll fuel growth. And then
where's all
also,
this money coming from?
I think it's the expectations that a lot of the central banks around the world are easing those hiking cycles, which means that money is about to become a little cheaper. And so there's that enthusiasm coming in as well. And then we talked about, again, to use digital gold, as our friend likes to call it, right? There's also that rally there as well after an event of the halving of Bitcoin last year as well. So I think it's just like a nice perfect cocktail of things. My only question is, at what point does the correction come in? Like, how much of this is bubble versus, like, you know, and how much is like human sentiment versus like actual like solid fundamentals? And so that's where,
And that's why I really get worried
Yeah.
because I mean, Arnold, we've talked about this several times on the show, and it might sound cliche, but this asset, this bullish ride that we're seeing, is it a bubble about to burst, or is it something that is fundamentally sustainable? Like,
Yeah.
do we have like what's like you and I just talked before the show, and we're looking at Nvidia and we're saying, look, yes, Nvidia is trading at 54, 55 times his earnings, but on the price to peg ratio, price to earnings growth ratio,
stocks,
it's probably it's probably trading below 1, which means it's probably undervalued.
Yeah.
So does it mean that we're gonna see Nvidia at 5 trillion pretty soon? It just hit 4. I mean, like 4 trillion valuation.
4 trillion is
Yeah,
one
and they were
company
saying
in France.
Yeah,
the
one
GDP
company.
of France.
Yeah, and they were seeing
And
Apple
Spain,
as well, hitting 3 trillion, Microsoft, Amazon.
Yeah.
Like, where does this end, right? Like,
So it's something I've been thinking about today. Where does it end? Because we all know it's here. We're seeing it.
I mean, like, sorry, before you, just so that
Okay.
this can also help you with your response, because
let me-
capitalism typically is someone is winning, someone's losing in it. So who's losing here? Like, so go on.
Who's losing? I don't know. We're okay, right? Let me think it through and talk it through.
Yeah.
Because I'm also trying to figure out where it ends. But for me, where it ends on the equity side, it still reinforces my view that I've had through the year, where I talk about US going to a stagflation, an inflation environment, which I've had, right? I knew, we all knew Trump was coming in with a bit of, okay, we saw, or we're seeing the tariffs come in, and no one still understands. And I believe the Fed, which is more important than no one, understand how this plays into inflation. We're seeing inflation. US inflation came out this week, slightly higher than everyone expected, and much higher than May, right? So everyone expected 2.6% on CPI, came out 2.7. I believe, it came out 2.7, and 2.4 wherever it was in May. But I've been working on the theory and the idea of cost of capital, and I'll try and break it down as much as I can right now, because I'm still thinking it through. But I've noticed over 10 years, 15 years that US treasuries follow Japanese bond yields. The reason this is because Japan is the largest foreign holder of US treasuries. It's Japan and then China is second.
Yeah.
So what normally happens is, that carry trade where Japanese yields were lower, Japanese investors buy more US treasuries, the Japanese yield on the spread looks better than US treasuries, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this year we're seeing Japanese bond yields spike up. I think this week Japanese bond yields, 30-year bond yields are the highest they've ever been.
Yeah.
And naturally, what we're going to see, I think this happened last week in Japan, what we're going to see this week is we're going to see, or we started seeing yesterday and even on Friday, we started seeing US Treasury yields follow suit. US Treasury yields going higher eventually means cost of capital for businesses go higher.
Yeah.
And then on the investor side, investors will want a bit more return on the equity return. I believe that there's a number, and I don't have the number now because I'm not, but if I follow the trend of Japanese bond yields rising and Japanese investors selling US treasuries, spiking up yields, right? And couple this with a high US inflationary environment, I believe there's going to come to a point where the equity market is going to say, hold on a minute, this has gone too high.
Yeah.
I'm expecting more on my equity return. I can't get it. I'm going to sell out and I'm going to start buying US treasuries. And I believe this happens at some point this year.
Yeah.
So in my mind, this is why I've thought to myself for a while, I don't really know what's going on in the US markets. Tech feels a bit different, but US equity market as a whole, it's coming to the point based on Japanese bond yields and US Treasury yields rising and the sticky inflation that US is experiencing.
Yeah.
Because inflation is sticky.
Yeah.
And inflation numbers coming out today has made it even more difficult for the Fed to start entertaining the idea of cutting
Cuts, yeah.
cuts. So I see them holding in September unless something else happens.
Yeah.
And I think this at some point feeds into the equity market and this rally stops. So it's what I want to say with confidence is that this rally comes to an end based on, because I strongly believe based on the fact that cost of capital goes up and it's going to be expected.
Yeah.
The return on equity is going to be the expected return on equity is going to be too high. Then the market realizes that they can't get it from equity and it's going to be a wave into
it'll correct
But
itself.
how would the cost of capital increase when expectations globally is that rates should come down?
Expectation is not, but rates coming down. UK rates are not coming down. Gilt rates are not, but German,
EU.
but everyone, the news tells you rates are coming down.
Yeah.
But price
But
action,
yields are going
not
up.
coming down. US 30 and 30 year, US 20 and 30 year cross 5%.
So those are
and they haven't done that in a while.
so those are debt related risk.
Those are debt related risks, but that feeds into
Equity.
Yeah, feeds into equity.
And the dollar's weaker now as well.
Exactly. So for me, it's that, right? The media is telling you everyone's expecting yields to go down, but yields aren't going down.
Yeah.
Yields are going down. Inflation is sticking in Japan.
Tunji,
Inflation
are
is
you-
sticking in
In
the
the
US.
US, yeah.
What are you worried about, or what are you excited about? All of this.
I think what we are failing to see is that the world feels a certain level of optimism despite all the chaos
Right now.
and the optimism is born, for at least where I see it, is born from the fact that it looks like the world is reshaping and then things are realigning, so there will be new opportunities. It's not a mistake that Nvidia market cap is growing. There might be a correction, but what everybody is saying is that they kind of believe that the world is moving in a certain direction.
Yeah.
And the challenge, however, is we all don't know what this direction is. What will correct this bull run is when we finally realize where we're going to. And then we realize it's not as big as what we thought it was. And then we now readjust. Because right now
So there's a bubble expectation, basically.
Expectations
So you
versus
get-
AI
reality.
about
Exactly.
several things.
Technology.
About,
So we
nuclear.
don't know what it is. We don't know what AI is going to do.
Yeah.
Right now, we're still using AI to, set up offices, set up websites. We still don't know the full
breadth of
range of the breadth of it.
Yeah.
Nvidia is sitting pretty in the middle because whatever it becomes, we will power the processing speed of whatever it is.
Yeah.
So the world is banking on companies like that, okay, we know when we finally get there, we will be able to bank on this, guys. Because the people who are at the forefront of this AI revolution are still figuring it out. OpenAI, Meta, all of them are still figuring
In real time.
Exactly, in real time. So we're all watching these things unfold right before our eyes.
Yeah.
And at the same time, America is decoupling from the rest of the world, saying, everybody holds your place. You get. And those countries like the Eurozone, parts of Asia are now spending heavily on security. All of that is feeding into there is a new world order coming up. We do not know what this world order looks like, right?
Yeah.
But the thing I realize is happening is since we do not know, let's all take position quickly because by the time we know, it might just be too late to enter, right? So, for instance, like I'm kicking myself seriously because Bitcoin went up to 120. As at this moment is about 116. But we were on this show at some point when it was like 74.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were waiting for
I was
it to
waiting for
50.
it. I was telling them that no, he's going to go to 72. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I should have just stacked at that point.
Yeah.
So you don't want to miss the train.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss the train. So everybody's like positioning, and you're going to see more of that positioning because we don't know where it is going.
All right, Chiz, I'm going to come to you in a bit, but let me start with Arnold. Arnold, we're also seeing similar trend locally as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've seen like equity
NGX,
boom.
16%.
I think last week was probably the best week I've seen for the NGX
In a while.
Even
Yeah.
bonds, man.
up almost
Even
3%.
local
Yeah.
bonds.
You're seeing stocks or so. What's driving that as well?
So I called. This is last week that I named Shegu Abaje's week. GTCO listed on LSE.
Yeah.
Or they have a GDR. Or they had a GDR.
Yeah.
They listed on LSE and changed their global depository receipts to stocks.
Yeah.
And Shegu, he rang the bell on the LSE.
Arnold,
gave a
and then
speech.
dumb question as well for everybody in the audience who doesn't get what that actually means. Can you break it down?
Which
like
parts?
The GDR to stocks. Yeah.
Okay, so GDR is a global depository receipts. Global depository receipts. It's an instrument that allows a business outside of a country to list on its country. So it's an instrument that would allow to list on a country with less listing requirements. So for GTCO, what it meant is GTCO Bank had GDRs on LSE for years, probably since 2010 or 2012, I think.
Yeah.
So you could actually go on the LSE and buy GTCO GDR, and it gave you it's just like a stock. So that's the best definition of a GDR.
It's basically like an equity note, not equity, closer to debt. Those of us in finance we call it quasi equity. So
but it's still priced.
so you can list it on the foreign market without necessarily listing your shares
Officially.
in that market. So all they've just basically done is convert one GDR to 50 units of GT Bank shares. And an interesting thing was that conversion was done at $70. And GT Bank is trading now at about 90 plus naira. And GTB did their public offer at 50 plus. So I mean, whoever,
you're laughing, you're in the money. You're seriously.
Anyway, Chizzy, so
See how he dodged
equities
that.
market doing pretty well.
Sorry, dodged
Where
that,
did you
yeah.
buy?
How's your portfolio been like this year though?
Yeah. So for
Locally
me,
and outside, what have you been investing?
yeah. So for me, in general, like I've always been in that Jack Bogle school of holding index funds in general, and I hold them again broad markets, and I also hold like sector specific, nuclear, because of the transition and the compute power for AI. I would hold semiconductor. I hold. I like also some of the utility guys as well, right? So kind of like usual suspects. But for me, when it comes to the portfolio, like my classic all-weather portfolio is once I have those and I know that at the core, the thinking is sound. And as a classic like Buffett manga says, that it's companies who are doing things you understand, products you use every day, who are actually moving things around the world. You just buy and hold because your best friend is time and your best friend is compounding. If you think about the rule of 72 as well. So I actually don't get too twitchy about watching single name sector stocks because that's where guys like Arnold come in. Right,
That's Arnold. People
That's
like
their
Arnold.
day
But
job.
let me tell you a nice sector that I don't know if we've talked about or brushed on.
Yeah.
It's defense sector. It's done very, especially the European defense, right?
defense stocks.
So there's a huge wave of European countries now announcing that they will increase their defense budgets.
Spending.
Trump asked NATO countries to increase defense budget to about 5% GDP.
Yeah.
Macron announced on Sunday that France is adding another 5 or 10 billion euros to their defense. Germany announced in February defense and infrastructure 500 billion euros. European defense sector stocks, man.
Yeah,
it's
will
almost
go.
unsung, but they've done.
So funny thing,
absolutely well.
I met someone recently on the trip, and he was telling me that he started buying GT Bank stocks like a decade ago when he was 15, and he just always bought
Added more.
Yeah, every month. And he said that advice was from a bank teller, something like that.
Somebody in house.
Yeah,
so he
somebody
had
else.
inside information.
Not really inside information. Just
But that's what it was.
people just feel like the bank teller. What kind of inside information can I say? Someone who just like talks about investing. I mean, you can always have that colleague of yours who's always telling you invest.
Yeah, buy this, buy that.
Yeah, so he's been buying and we got talking. I'm like, so what do you have? And I said, he probably has like 600,000 units.
Yeah, units, yeah.
Like,
Wow.
Dude, man.
Yeah, he's in bank. But like, what actually hear from that, like a bank teller saying that, right? It comes back down to what we've talked about on the macro side, presidencies and all that stuff. It's, at the very core, it's human beings that power institutions, governments, families, etc., etc. If the bank teller who's working at XYZ Bank, GT in this case, says, I feel good about my bank, I feel good about how they're treating me and other people, how we're investing capital, what direction we're going in. Yeah, like it just means at the very core, these guys are here to stay and they'll be here for a while.
Yeah.
And that's
sometimes it's that simple.
Yeah, it's that simple.
Sometimes it's that
like
simple.
we overcomplicate these things. Yeah.
So for me, especially when I talk to my son about investments, the two ways that I tell him. The first one is, which I know he doesn't do, is think of where the world will be in 18 to 24 months. What would the world look like in 18 to 24 months? And then I'll just take a position based on that. Okay, if for me or everyone else, if US yields are going up, what makes money in a rising yield environment? What loses money in a rising yield environment? You go long, you go short.
Classic econ.
Exactly, simple. And then on the stock specific is, I tell him, just look around you. What company do you think is doing well? What do you like?
What are you using?
What are you using? Who are you banking with? Okay, banking Barclays, buy Barclays stocks.
Yeah.
And just
what are you drinking?
Simple. Yeah, what are you drinking? Look for the stock there, you buy it.
Yeah.
And talking about your investing for kids, and I'm just gonna ask you. So if maybe this isn't a Tunji question because Tunji's kids are probably much way younger. So if your son or your daughter ask you, they want to invest and they have an option of investing in iShow Speed or Kaizenat versus Zenith Bank. What would you tell them to invest in?
You
don't know what iShow Speed
like
is?
one of those influencer guys.
If iShow Speed was a company, would you tell them to invest in iShow Speed?
Interesting, there's guys doing tokenization stuff there, but that's going to be a whole segue. Let's...
Because Zenith Bank.
Yeah, or like, so what are you going to tell them to invest in? Are you going to tell them to invest in the traditional companies of today? Or are you going to tell them to invest in, because I mean, to Arnold's point, invest in what is moving, what's design. That's what they watch. They watch folks like I said, iShow Speed, gaming, and all that. So
revenue.
Assuming they are listing. Yeah, I don't know their revenue.
No. iShow Speed Zenith.
No, but you don't know.
Wait, cost. Overhead.
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
I don't know.
iShow Speed is definitely lower than Zenith Banks.
Yes, because you're looking at iShow Speed of now. I'm thinking you're looking at the future where you're seeing influencers grow into, like, there's some guy on YouTube, I've forgotten that guy's name. What's his name again? The highest...
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast,
yeah.
Mr. Beast is,
if he was a
what he earns is more than what
but
a lot of media corporations earn already. You don't know who he is?
He's like, he's basically...
Whoa.
I know.
Wow.
Big guess. Like, he's actually...
Wow. Yeah.
We need to do a whole...
Oh my God. He doesn't know what Mr. Beast is. This guy's old, man. You don't even know who he is.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Wow, he's such a monster. He's one monster guy.
He has more...
Such a nerd, man.
He's got more YouTube followers than Cristiano Ronaldo.
He doesn't even know Mr. Beast. Like,
so it's a big guest that he does all kinds of competitions. He's even
crazy wacky stuff. Yeah,
really cool guy.
Yeah,
but the thing again is, I think the future that we're walking into is one we do not understand. I
Wasn't
know,
that okay?
I know a lot of people are going
so
to...
what are your kids going to invest in? That's what I'm asking.
So,
do you think you're going to invest in the sort of asset classes that we see today?
Not.
Yeah.
Or are they going to invest in asset classes of the future? I like how you said tokenization. I'm going to see a world where people like this, right?
Yeah.
Are going to get tokenized.
Yeah. So actually, let me take it back to, again, I can't believe I'm about to use the word first principles. To know you're a physicist, so you get this, right? Like, for the kid...
Wait, how do you know that?
I did not even know that.
It's called KYC.
KYC.
Right?
Oh, somebody's done a KYC.
No, but seriously,
Have you written any books, any paper?
it's like some of my favorite media to consume of all time is just reading the newsletters and sort of the annual shareholder letters that Buffett and Munger wrote, and then Tao of Charlie Munger, Snowball Effect, all that stuff, right? And if I had, like, again, no children yet, but godchildren, nephews, nieces, at the core, it's like, why do you want to invest? What is investing exactly? If we now say investing is owning a slice, like actual ownership of a company, it's not, okay, what company do you think will be around from here until 100 years from now? What company do you think you can follow more closely? Because again, the more you know, the better. What companies do you think you actually understand, right? And what companies are using every day? And you take it from there and you just realize that, look, it's not about getting into speculative plays. It's about owning a slice of something that's providing services and products in the world that will be here as a going concern.
How about for me? For me, my definition of investing is paying myself tomorrow. So I don't really care necessarily about ownership.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that tomorrow I'm paid. I always look up Arnold of 2025 and say, thank you very much for that decision.
Yeah.
It sort of changes that, right? In a sense. Because now it's not ownership per se. Now it's what is making money tomorrow. What will pay me tomorrow.
But if you think about it, if you didn't own it, you won't get any.
Yeah.
So like at the very core, again, I'm a very classic like Buffett Munger kind of guy, where for me the thing is you just think like 12 to 13 big swings lifetime.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Listen, 100%.
And that's why the guy Ugo met, right, who's been piling into GT stock for years, because he's like, I know these guys, I know where they're going, I know what they do. And so greedy when everybody else is fearful. Whenever the market tanks, I go buy more, because the more of it, the more I own, type of thing.
So there are two things, right? So my son owns the Meta Quest glasses. And because I'm very curious and I just want to keep him safe, right?
Yeah.
So from time to time, I tend to put them on and
see what's going on.
The world myself.
Yeah.
And it's actually very next level in terms of real-time conversations. I mean, you already call people across the world, right? But you're in rooms, real-time, seeing their avatars of people from children from like China, South Korea, all across the world. Now, the reality and the stark contrast from our growing up is like night and day, right? Yeah. My son the other day was talking about that he wants to start a YouTube channel.
How old is your son?
9.
Okay.
Now, the first Nigerian dad instincts was, what do you mean? Then I sat and I thought, like, yo, dude, chill. Like, almost everybody he's watching has a YouTube channel. For whatever reason. For streaming purposes, for whatever purposes, they have all those streaming channels. And they're making a lot of money from it.
Yep. The TV he watched growing up.
You get
YouTube.
You get. That's his TV, right? That's his TV.
But the difference is that, compared to when we watch TV, right?
Yeah.
When you watch Superman and Spider-Man, you ain't watching them because you wanted to create your own Spider-Man. You actually wanted to be Spider-Man. But today they are watching YouTube and they want to have their own channel.
Exactly.
So they understand the concept of
ownership.
YouTube channels,
ownership,
and how much money they make from it. They know.
So my thought is, and it was Mark Zuckerberg's explanation of what the future and what he was trying to create with the metaverse was quite interesting for me, because he was talking about it from the perspective, and a little from Web3, right? Where Web2 was, we go there to consume, and Web3 is more like we are the
creators.
We go there to consume. They hold the resources.
Exactly. So we are the content for Web3
and the owners.
Exactly, the owners. So ownership into the future might just not be what we see ownership as. Do you get? Ownership will be something completely different, and it's already playing out. Mr. Beast couldn't have existed when I was growing up. iShow Speed would have been smacked out of this
He would have died of poverty.
you get when I was growing up, but he is one of the biggest influencers across the world.
Yeah.
We know that guy from I don't know where he's
The
from.
Italian guy.
No,
that is on
the Italian
Instagram.
guy that,
Yeah.
that just does this.
Yeah.
Oh, is he French or is he Italian?
He's Italian.
African descent
Yeah,
guy,
yeah,
right?
African
I don't remember
descent.
his
He
name.
just does this, right?
Yeah,
And
Diaby
he's
or something.
made huge money
Diaby.
from it.
Yeah.
Right? When I was growing up, you can't now.
Poverty will
so
kill you. Never see anything. But
You get my point.
Yeah.
So the context, and I think this is why I'm not trying to direct how my son sees investment.
yeah,
Because I completely realized that the principles I learned
yeah,
are going to be different for him. So what I am doing is trying to put myself in his shoes and see how I can take my own first principles and adapt it to this
100%.
thing that he's seeing.
Yeah.
So that at least I can tell him, I don't totally know it, but I know that if you go this way, this will be the way. But we must agree that there is such a light and day difference between us growing up and
So
his
as a
kids.
kid, right, if your dad gave you, let's say when you were like 10, 12, and your dad gave you, say back then, maybe 100 naira.
to invest.
No, like just give you 100 naira. Typically, what would you think of
spent
buying
it on.
immediately then?
Yeah, I think back then it was. I really
Comics,
liked,
sweets?
comics.
Yeah.
I liked the sweets. I really just liked meat pie for some reason. And Scotch
I
egg.
still do.
So,
I still do.
So to this day,
I still
meat pie and Scotch egg. Shout out to the meat pie and Scotch egg.
Yeah.
But like,
I
so
still
we're
do,
talking.
man. I
So
still
if
do.
you now break it back, like sweets, like I liked my Coca-Cola as well, Fanta, right? So we're talking. So if you break it down to what the company's driving, like UAC Foods.
So now let's now look at the kids of today. So
Yeah.
if you give your child 100
Let me
naira
tell you
today,
what my son
or
does.
1,000 naira or 10K, what would they want to buy?
So this is an interesting thing. My son
'Cause I wanna
doesn't
see the
buy
same.
anything.
It's nope. Are you sure?
I'm serious.
What-
He
what-
just-
what
even
will
robots,
he do with the money?
Minecraft, nothing.
That's it.
So no.
That's it. They wanna buy robots.
That's my
Roblox,
chill.
man.
Yeah.
So this is the thing.
Roblox.
My son just keeps stacking it up because what he
'Cause
wants
he
to
knows
buy
that
is
you'll always-
expensive.
Interesting.
You get so he keeps stacking it up.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
I'm seeing
You're
the
right.
safe and I'm
I'm
wondering
actually curious.
why.
What
Yeah.
does he want to
Yeah.
buy? Have you
Yeah.
ever
That's
asked him?
so I've not asked him yet because I mean I'm afraid too.
Yeah. So it's either
And this
it's
is
either they
where-
want to buy. Trust me, it's either they want to buy. This is what they buy. At least,
Yeah.
My own son is 11.
Yeah.
Right. So typically, what he buys. So if he's not buying a Roblox,
Yeah.
he's buying an expensive avatar.
Yeah.
Or he's buying a tool. I don't know what that thing is called
Yeah.
in the game that
Yeah.
gives him extra power.
In-game currency.
Yeah, in-game currency or whatever.
Level
up.
For him to be able to win
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
Because now he's in a world where, look, he's playing with his friends
Yeah.
from all over the world
Yeah.
and he has to be at the top of some pile or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what, and you're right.
The leaderboard.
Dude saves up
Yeah.
to buy those things.
Yeah.
And
It's
he
the
knows
thing.
it's like,
the
he
thing.
comes to you and it's like,
We
how
were
much
spent
is
first.
Yep.
Wait a minute.
We were
He doesn't
so
ask me anymore
stupid.
because before he used to ask me
Now he has
how
access
much
now.
is so
Yeah.
the daddy this 10,000. What is it in dollars?
Yes.
No, he has access.
Maybe he knows how to do
Yeah.
it.
He has
That's
access.
access.
So you
He
can
has
convert
access.
Yeah,
You know-
they do that themselves.
you know-
They
Man,
convert-
that guy's
Do you
getting smacked down to
get?
convert.
Yeah.
So I am
He's getting
realizing.
smacked down.
Yes.
So let me tell you.
I would
So
actually
he
like to
converts
be
this
your
thing
son.
himself now.
my son
I
does
feel like-
converts
let me
it.
tell you
Converts
this.
it. Yeah.
I gave my
So
son
when it's
all
here
this.
and I give him Naira, he converts it because it's put.
How does he know how to convert
it? I showed him about key effects as well. So I
Oh,
showed it to him.
I
He doesn't know how
Because-
to
because-
do it.
But you do know
because
that
there's an app. So
using
from
Google, you know, using Google is very second nature to them.
Yeah.
So just go to Google and just
We,
convert.
it's like an afterthought. It's
Yeah.
first
Because I
nature.
encourage,
That's how
I
they grow up
encourage
learning.
that go out and figure it out yourself. I encourage being autodidactic, teach yourself.
Let's talk about
I'm
it.
a big
You know,
fan of being autodidactic. Go and find out the information yourself. I encourage. I don't even. I really encourage that. So
You know,
ChatGPT,
no, sorry.
Google, everything.
yeah, you know what's interesting? Like hearing, you know, Arnold yours and then Tunji and it was like, it's like the kids these days, whether you call them Gen Z or I guess Gen Alpha, you know, onwards. The two things they really care about is one, experiences, right? And I think the second thing for them is they want that agency of I'm in
Yeah.
the driver's seat. And that's
Yeah.
why companies that have, even in America today, companies that have whether it's negative hiring policies, poor DEI and all that stuff,
Will not
Gen
get the
Z
best
people
talent.
want to boycott it,
Yeah.
right?
Sorry,
And-
I missed that. Sorry, companies that have.
like companies that have anything that's negative in the Gen Z or Gen Alpha mind, whether
Okay.
it's, poor DEI
Toxicity.
practices, toxicity, whatever, they want to actually with their dollars boycott, which is for me like a nod towards agency. And this is why, like, again, not to do a shameless plug for my company and what we're building Zuri Watu, but it's just like building experiences and sort of building things that are beautifully created that put people in the driver's seat as well.
And that's what I was going to
At the core.
actually going to segue to next.
Yeah.
I mean, we're almost running out of time, but let's talk about, so with all these experiences, what sort of businesses should people be creating for the future
right now,
either for investment purposes or just because you want to sell? So how do we start to reimagine products of the future? So if you're looking at like me now in media, I know that like this is one sector that is completely reimagined now, right? Like today we're here, we're broadcasting, we're streaming, and you can basically compete with anyone. So you're looking at pensions as well. So how does this, like, what are they going to value, right? And it'd be nice to hear your comments and comment section as well. Like,
careful what you ask.
What sort of product? Like, so what sort of, like, we had Gucci here last week and he was talking about, how cryptocurrency is probably going to be looked at differently from a lot of young people today. So they're probably not going to be looking at equities the way we look at equities. So we look at equity today as some company that's listed on the stock exchange that sells shares. So they're probably going to be looking at equities somehow differently. Maybe fractionalized equities.
Already.
Which is already happening. Exactly. So is that what they're going to be looking at? Or are they going to be looking at equities from a tokenized point of view where you can sort of borrow it here and like tokenize? I don't know. It's just interesting to see. So we quickly move on to payments, right? I mean, part of what you do outside Nigeria, or you did outside Nigeria. I mean, so still, you did it. You still do them now. So we talked about payments on this show a few times, and I just wanted to get your view on what exactly is, would you say is stark difference between how payment structure works, I guess maybe in the US versus in Nigeria. I mean, we tend to say to ourselves here that we're probably more advanced. And I agree. I think we're more advanced in most areas. But there are probably areas where we're not very good at. And some of the examples we gave is tap. Right? Like you're in the UK and you can tap, with your phone and go through,
contactless cards,
US, you contact all the stuff. So what exactly makes things like that function outside Nigeria and we can have it done here?
I think when I think about payments, I tend to think about that difference in sort of two buckets, right? First one is attitudes. Second one is infrastructure. Attitudes, cultures, whatever. Second is infrastructure. On the attitude side, I would say, if you think about where we as a country and as economies across Africa we're coming from, and M-Pesa in Kenya, us here in Nigeria, all different companies, I think that speed of innovation and that speed of the fact that we need to, there's so many people on banks like coming in 10 years ago, 12 years ago, where all the money points and all the other guys coming up now are building through agents to get right down to the grassroots, leapfrogging wherever the banks were, wherever the banks stopped in their AC offices. That's one thing I think that we in Nigeria and across the continent are doing like really well, right? AC offices for sure. Then the second thing too is using tech, advanced or not advanced, but using tech for where it is as opposed to where you want it to be, right? So there's folks who have smartphones and so forth, building applications that way. There's people in the villages, in the rural areas, USSD codes through agents, through kiosks, getting that done as well. I feel like that's where we on this side of the world are innovating like at light speed. Now on the innovation side, I think that's where, and again, I realize that these days innovation is not just about fancy tech. It's also about how you circumvent the problem. And African companies, fintechs included, have been innovative with where we are with tech, where we are with infrastructure, and solving for the people in front of them, where we are with regulatory, bottlenecks or sometimes regulatory laxes and just like running full speed until someone whistles and says stop. On the US side, again, because a lot of those guys are more incumbents, more entrenched, you see a little bit more slowness sometimes. One of the things I was frustrated about when I first moved to the US before the advent of Venmo and Cash App came out is you're moving money, same currency within the same country. In England, it's like no issues. In the US, it's like, if it's not the same bank, you get a charge. And that was ripe for disruption. And you realize that again, in those parts of the developed world, anything that's inefficient is because somebody else or some people want it that way, right?
So, okay, go. Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, so I've always wondered as well, in Nigeria, I mean, do you think that maybe not to sound cliche, but are we in a fintech bubble? Like there's just so many people in payments. Yeah, like everybody you meet today in fintech who's probably trying to raise or something.
It's a good question.
Yeah. I need this to trigger to me. That's why I want to start with.
Yeah.
So like I'm so many payment platforms. Like
Are we-
I don't recall like
Are we? Yeah.
I don't recall that many payment platforms in other countries. Like in Nigeria, just so many of them.
Yeah. So I
like
think
there's Flutterwave, there's Paystack, there's PenPay,
Moneypoint, PayPal, all those guys. Yeah.
So many of them.
So the way I think about think about bubbles these days is less about sort of variety of options. I just call that one competition. It's more about level of problem solve and level of value add. Right? If you think about where we are today in the continent, Africa Continental Free Trade Act was ratified 2019, 2020. A lot of that stuff is words on paper.
But still not working.
Right? All those platforms that we have that are trying to get more activity going from rural areas to urban areas across the country, I think eventually we'll get involved with moving money around the continent when we start to trade with each other. So it's just, I think it's all positioning. So the question is for all the different players, it's like, what services are they offering? What prices are they offering? The competition is good. Eventually, the markets will thin out those who are going to be there for the long run and phase out those who are not going to be there for the long run. So I don't think it's a bubble. I think it's just more options for the consumer. And the question, still is left to be seen about who would add services that will serve the Nigerian consumer and the West African consumer when the Africa market opens up whenever it opens up.
Okay, so Tunji, let me give you your flowers. No? Anyways, so I did, a lot of people will say, oh, like we had too many,
platforms,
POSs and all that. What else did they want to do? And then Moneypoint shows up and says, look, this can actually be done better.
Yeah.
And then we've seen a lot of progress in that direction and like a lot of value. So what else do you think, like what other payment revolution do you expect now beyond what
one is happening in the next 90 days.
Okay.
Which one is this?
I'm not going to say it because we're part of it.
Okay.
So does it make payments different?
Let him cook.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we didn't create it. We were called to the table generally because of our work.
It's like some cartel stuff.
It is cartel stuff.
I like cartels. But you see, the thing is, this enabler, very entrenched enabler, has been thinking we need to create better agency for people who are doing financial transactions on the lower cadre of the spectrum, right? So when you go to a POS today, all you get is the ability to be able to put cash in and put cash out. Right? There are so many things you can do with a POS. I've said it before. There are POSs that have the ability to take pictures. There are POSs with biometric capabilities. So you can advance the functionality and the utility of a POS to do a lot more than it is doing today.
Go straight to the point now.
So wait now, I have to set this market because we're coming.
In 90 days.
We're coming. But the thing is, so one, for instance, I do know that as of today, when you talk about the underbanked nature of Nigerians, it is real. In a lot of the countries that we like to, speak to, I could go to certain places. I could get a credit card, and you hear about it like, what do you call it? Startup founders that they get 3 or 4 credit cards and they max it out, and that's what they started their startup with. In Nigeria, where you going to see it? It doesn't exist, right? The services that allow you to be able to pay for rent on a monthly basis. Some companies have tried to hack it; they've not gotten around to it. So I think there's a lot that payment can do, especially with this new invention, the new introduction of open banking by the central bank. I hope that is adopted by the banking industry as a whole. But the truth is that we have done wide. We've gone wide. We've spread wide. We now need to go deep.
Exactly.
been saying this for like 3 minutes.
No, which is why. So
If you're not giving us credit,
I think
and there's
I
no
know.
direct debit,
Yeah.
I really know what.
Oh
So
my
I think,
God.
I think what
You're
you're talking
up to
about is a
something.
one-stop
You're up to
shop.
something. You're up to
Is a
something.
one-stop shop for everything, right?
Yeah.
That's,
You're still
that's
speaking
where the
grammar.
market is going.
Is it
So the
direct
thing is
debit?
that- so the
So it's
thing is
either
that
direct
everything is-
debit
It's beyond-
or some credit. Like I don't
Yeah.
like what other revolution are we looking for?
I think
Yeah.
what's happening is a one-stop
Yeah.
shop.
Think
Yeah,
about the fact that both are going to happen very soon.
Interesting. Triumphs.
As in,
Interesting.
this is probably the biggest thing I believe has happened to last mile financial transactions in Nigeria in a long time. Think about when the advent of POSs. This is going to be as huge as that, and we're just lucky to be part of the people who are innovating.
who's the we here?
So our bar, which is my company,
Right.
has been called to this gathering.
Okay,
Table of cartel.
I see.
Arnold.
Yeah, so I mean, while Tunji was talking, I was thinking about it because you're talking about the next step. So I think there's room for someone to sort of bring all the service providers together in one platform.
In a container.
Where you can have Access Bank, GT Bank,
Isn't that what
wherever it
Leaves
is,
does?
on one platform. And then it goes into different service providers, insurance, even being able to buy an airplane ticket, being able to make payments.
You can do that on your
pensions.
bank app, can't you?
No,
I
but
feel
this is a one-stop shop for everybody.
Why do you need a one-stop shop for everybody?
Because then you can get the best provider, the cheapest provider.
Why?
Competition right there.
How
Everything is
does
right
that
there.
endanger? That was that engender competition.
Ugodre, at the last mile,
it doesn't
have a competition, but it brings everyone together. Yeah.
No, like
Yeah.
there's
It makes things cheaper because you can now see everything here. Now these guys are now starting to figure themselves out.
As in a company providing something like what you have with bank rate and all that.
Everybody
Yeah.
plugs into
Yeah,
this.
to see.
and even transparency too, where
So
there's almost like a table where you can see what are your transaction fees.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
so
what I
it
mean.
brings everything in.
Yeah.
So I think
So that's
whilst you're
a
talking,
different
more
solution provider.
importantly,
Yeah.
more importantly, nothing like what you say already exists
Yeah.
at the last mile.
What did I say?
He was talking about buying plane tickets and all those things. It doesn't exist at the last mile. When I say last mile, I'm talking about Mama Risi is planning to travel to she's planning to travel to Abuja to go and see her son.
Yeah.
The son has sent her money, buy ticket.
Yeah.
She's thinking, how do I buy ticket? Do I go to
Yeah.
the airport?
Yeah.
Can she just go to the POS guy
Yeah.
and say, I have the money in my card?
Yeah.
And he gives her plane ticket.
Yeah.
And I think to your point as well,
Plane ticket. Mama Risi wants to buy a plane ticket.
Mama Risi,
Yeah,
no, but
POS.
She,
Wow.
I like-
she can. So first of all, the thing about Mama Risi's, and forgive me for the generalization, is
Yeah.
that they have a lot more disposable income than we do. To be honest, they really do. The challenge is
So it makes sense for her to go buy a 400,000 naira plane ticket via
she can
POS
afford
guy.
it, but
Yeah.
it's just the access sometimes. It's just not knowing how to do it. Because
Yeah.
if you wanted to do it, you probably Google, you probably check, all these websites that
User
they show
experience.
you. Exactly. You do it, but she's not going to do that, right?
Yeah.
She's
So
going
are we?
to probably
So,
call,
are you, so is this?
she's going to call us.
Yeah. So, is this encouraging? I thought we were trying to go cashless. So are we now going
No,
cash?
I'm not saying
cash
that.
based.
The son has sent her wired money into her account. She has
Yeah.
the money in her
Why can't
bank
the son just
account,
wire the
Yeah.
ticket
but she
to her?
doesn't. If he doesn't want to do it, go.
no,
So the
maybe
point
she's
is
not traveling tomorrow.
exactly. So I'm just saying the
You can't wire
utility
the
of being
ticket,
able to
like,
do it.
when
Speaking of you today.
The son-
I'm trying to make sense of
the
it.
son- No, so
But it's the same sort of thing I'm talking about. Where it's a
Yeah.
marketplace and
Yeah.
everybody's plugged in, and it's just this one provider providing a marketplace for everybody.
yeah, so
Right? That's the best word I can use. a
So like,
marketplace.
I don't know, for a guy like me who doesn't really read government people, I think like government guy in the sense that anybody who's innovating at the cutting edge of fintech or any service, it's like, what is your product or service doing for the core person to lift them out of poverty or to lift them further away from the poverty line?
Yeah.
And for me, it's one of the big glaring things that's missing in Nigeria now and across the continent is credit facilities, credit scoring, where but if
Exactly.
if Mama Risi were a trader or she were a farmer, right? Where she's like, okay, borrowing against some of the stuff that the micro lenders have tried to do, but again, at less exorbitant rates, where she's like, I have these outlays, I have this cash flow, this is how much I'm going to do this month.
Yeah.
I just need,
Yeah.
And then before we get to the point of payday loans and people who do stuff like earned wage access in the US and stuff, it's like, what are you doing for
service I'm
everyday
talking about is
people?
on the back end.
So
the
Arnold-
microfinance guy,
Arnold-
the back end microfinance guy can actually see her flow.
Right.
So they can easily then score her.
Yeah.
And then she can also, because all this microfinance guy can see and score her, she can get the best rates.
So that's my
Whoever
point. So is there, like, I don't know which economy payments is going to create the sort of growth we're looking for in Nigeria. I don't know. I don't have any problems with payments, but I just think there's just a lot of emphasis around payments here in Nigeria. And
Like moving money
it's-
around.
Yeah, and it's all because it's very easy to get a cut out of that,
Yeah.
and then you make a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
But how do we move from payments to actually providing a financial technology support that can help grow the economy, like actual real economy? And that is credit and direct debit, right? Because people want to sell products, right? They want to sell products to you.
Yeah.
They don't want to be hassling and going after you.
Yeah.
They want to plug into your account
Yeah.
and have you pay bit by bit.
Right.
And that is why you have companies like Amazon and a lot of them, consumer product companies that are the biggest in the world. So how do we get our own fintech there? And much respect to a lot of the fintech companies that have tried to do this and have failed, because I guess a whole lot of the things that needs to be available is not there, infrastructure wise.
Which is what's infrastructure.
Like we're getting there now. And so that's why I was excited about what Tunji was saying.
Then
But he's not letting the cat out of the bag. And then
I really can't. Because, I really can't. But it's not my. So I wanted to share. So there was a show we had back in some time back, and listeners, viewers pointed me at the Credit Corp, Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, and it's basically leading the charge. Leading the charge for economic inclusion. No, so their job is to create policy towards that, right? So there are two things, right? There's already a credit scoring modality in Nigeria. The second thing is the open banking system. When you put a credit scoring system with open banking, what you do is unlock credit, because generally what it is that there's more transparency. If I want to collect credit, I need to open my bank account to this credit system. They can score what I have done with my banking transactions. So it's a more transparent
information
system.
and access.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, what the reason why, and I don't claim to be an expert in payments, right? One of the reasons why Nigerian payment system seems to be ahead of its counterparts, it's generally because of the fact that the big guys they were insular. The fintech guys have
AC offices, I told you. Versus agents in the bank.
Do you get the fintech guys have done a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Do you get into some of the systems that you hear that they have settlement in every bank? You know the kind of heavy lifting that it takes for you to put settlement systems in every bank to be able to collect. So those things, by the time a fintech has settlement everywhere, and then you add credit core, you had credit scoring, you had open banking, boom.
Who exactly is Credit Core? Because I didn't even know we had proper.
So I mean, Credit Core exists, but they're still at the very high level, and essentially meant to provide some kind of comfort to banks that are still doing corporate level lending.
I see.
At this stage. So
I see.
On the retail level, it's not really.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, at that sort of level yet. And that's where this needs to get to. And to this point, that's why we don't have credit ratings and all. But I think a lot of the things that needs to happen is gradually happening, and I think it will crystallize at some point. But let's move on quickly into last topic today, Chizzy. And one thing that we've always talked about here is entrepreneurship and of course, typical 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And we do have a lot of Nigerians. I met a Nigerian recently who lives abroad, who left his job here. And what the guy said was that he had 13 years to go here, where he was working in a government office. He had 13 years to go.
What state did he live in?
In Lagos here. He had 13 years to go in his civil service job. And of course, you know what that means. After 13 years, you get gratuity, you get pension and all that.
Yeah.
And he had to compare that to 13 years abroad, right? And so he chose to start a new life. So he felt like starting a new life now, in the next 13 years,
he'd be better off
than if he retired. But at the same time, this is someone in his 50s and he's grinding, he's working. Pretty stressed out, right? And so, I think you live abroad, right? So where does this function for people? So is it better to be an employee? Or is it better to be an entrepreneur? Or what are the conditions that makes you want to choose either?
Either or.
Especially
I
as a lot
think,
of Nigerians are Japa right now.
yeah, I think it's a hard question to answer for a broad context because it's person specific, right? And there's some folks I know I've met who are brilliant at what they do. They are, salaried, folks, and they're like, yeah, entrepreneurship is not for me, and that's fine. I can add value in the companies that exist. In fact, somebody said there's too many companies being started, and a lot of them are being run badly. That's where I come in, right? So even in that context, you can now start to think about entrepreneurship as one thing. On the entrepreneurial side, it's like the many companies that are starting, many of them have failed, many of them will fail, many will still fail in the future. I think it comes down to what value are people providing for who they're serving, for themselves, for the communities that they're doing business in. I'm thinking about things from a 360-degree perspective. And I think that's at the core where it comes to. Because the countries around the world that we all love to study as cases or travel to, etc., or, hope that Nigeria will sort of emulate are countries where there's things like rule of governance, which I think are like big terms. At the very core for me, it's like, what is the value of a human life in your country? And is there a level of care, kindness, love, whatever you call it, for your citizens? Because if it's there, folks in government are thinking about how to make lives better for everybody. Folks in the private sector are thinking of how do I provide the kinds of services that make life better for my customers, that they start to come back and then tell their friends and their family about what I'm doing. So I think that's where it sort of comes to, and it's person by person. It just depends on what problems people want to solve and whether they want to solve them within a company employed by somebody else or solve them on their own if they feel like the direction a company is going.
So is it just easier then to be like an employee when you like leave Nigeria and go to Nigeria to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
I mean, I can think that most foreigners who come to Nigeria probably come in here as employees as well. We do have
As
some
expats and
entrepreneurs,
things like
maybe,
that.
as expats and all that. So when people like, if you Japa now at, maybe in your 40s,
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me now?
Yeah.
I don't
These are
understand.
like
so
foxes.
silver foxes.
So again,
foxes in your 40s.
I feel like the whole easy versus not easy thing is also hard because if you go to parts of LATAM now where there are those entrepreneurship visas where you can get those, what the problem is, you're going in as an entrepreneur and you don't have to worry about immigration, then maybe yes, you could sort of start there. But if you're in other markets like England, like Europe, where immigration stuff is not as friendly, you might need like a soft landing to figure things out for yourself, which is why I think it's all human dependent and it's all context driven and it's all very individually specific. Sorry, I didn't give you the answer you wanted.
I don't know. Do you have my answer?
Yeah.
What's your question?
So, I mean, what do you, easier for you to be an employee in your 40s abroad or just start a business?
I actually think you answered the question. It's if you're going into a market that you don't know.
So why can't you just start a business there?
Start a business there.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't
Is
know
it
the market,
capital?
if you don't know what the
There's so many
consumer is, you don't know.
things.
I mean, capital.
like before you go,
is
you
easier
can-
to get there than
You
it
can
is here,
study.
right? You can,
Easier to get there.
yeah, I
really?
mean, if you, that's.
I mean, don't
credits.
you need to be at some level of scoring before you're able
You need
to
to
get
be a
credit?
person in the system before
Yeah,
you can
to a
get
degree. I
credit.
mean, okay,
too.
so
Yeah.
you might not be able to hit the ground, starting getting credits, but you can get a job, get your 3-6 months, 1 year, 2-3 year.
So what's the typical ladder like when you, let's say you relocate to say the US or Canada? Is it that do you have to start with maybe care work and then you go into this, like what's like
Honestly,
the ladder?
honestly,
That is a
it
question that I
depends.
do not know, yeah.
Honestly, it depends on country, depends on people's skills. It's
Canada,
so
what's
many
it like?
things, dude. Canada's it's like so you asking this question is like asking when you come into Nigeria, like which cities are best to go visit. I don't know. It's a very open-ended.
That's what I'm asking
thing.
because I believe I'm with brilliant people here. If you know.
So I remember seeing a tweet a while back, maybe like 3-4 years back. I've forgotten this. There's this one former civil servant that was very popular on Twitter. People liked him a lot, and he was talking about looking at his peers, those who jackpot back in the day. Now this is a senior
person. Yeah.
So he was saying, comparing those who jackpot and those who stayed back, factoring for the same work ethic and, plus or minus here or there, that on the average, there wasn't a lot of difference. Right? So
Not a lot of
those,
difference between those. What do you know? What
those who
period?
left
Yeah.
and those who stayed
Stay
back.
back.
But there wasn't a
What
lot
was the
of
sample
difference. Really?
size? What was the sample
So
size?
it was obviously his class.
I see.
You get his class at the time. So it's
And
like,
what year was this?
this person is probably in his 60s or something.
Okay,
you
so
know?
they were in union about late
Exactly.
70s, early 80s.
So it was like,
Yeah.
give or take, the sample size was the same.
yeah.
And I want to assume that the world is moving in the same direction. So now, if you are Japa 7 years ago, and you still live in Nigeria. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have more opportunities there, but it doesn't. If you have the same work ethic that got the other person to relocate, the people here too, it's not like they're sitting on their hands, right? They're also moving. They're also doing stuff. So give or take.
But is it work
Left
ethic or
and
is it
right?
opportunity?
His opportunities.
Also
So it's
different,
also,
though.
but there are also opportunities here,
Sometimes
right?
you say I work hard, but
Yeah.
a lot of it has to do with the environment, where you were born, where you live. Like I've sort of shied away from the hard work is the
Fine.
key. I just think environments, man.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying hard work is the key.
Okay.
I'm saying, so think about it. If you were to travel to Europe or the US, yes, you will get good jobs. You will get good opportunity. But the likelihood of you meeting one Egbon that will take you under his wing and transform your fortunes from 300K to 300 million within a very short period is very slim in those climes. However, in Nigeria, it is very, very possible.
But that's a shot in the dark.
No,
You
no,
can't
it's
plan
not.
around that.
So
that's-
what I'm saying is, that is an extreme,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the extreme is that, so for instance, if you were also in Nigeria, the opportunities of you moving from junior analyst to eventually becoming ED of your stockbroking
firm,
firm,
whatever, yeah.
is higher in Nigeria than it is in America. I mean, let's be real, right?
So again, the chances
Of you moving from
the
junior
competition there is
analyst
wild.
to
Competition
becoming
is-
ED
Yeah.
or even
Yeah.
MD of your
Yeah.
stockbroking
Yeah.
firm is
Yeah.
a lot higher in Nigeria than it is over there.
100%.
So give or take, there are things you balance out, which I think at the end of the day, they kind of even out. And so it's really not whether you are here or you are there. It's really about what you decide to do with your own life and what your own priorities
But
are.
a lot of people making decisions like this, like taking life decisions, that often go our way. Some do go well. It is based on the notion that things are obviously going to be better for them outside Nigeria. So what exactly are the conditions that, you look at and you say, look, why don't you just stick it here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think-
think
scenarios like this,
that
like,
sometimes
Is there a certain, kind of job you need to have here, or a certain kind of lifestyle, certain kind of income that you need to have here that you'd say, you know what, stick
the
it here.
same
Even though your family
uncertainty
is
that you're
outside there.
going to meet there is also,
but at the same time, I think there comes a point in a man's life where you look at your life, you look at your family, you look at your kids, and you just want to feed your family.
Yeah.
You're not dreaming of the Oga
Yeah.
or Egmont that will help you.
Yeah.
You don't even want to be the next Dangote. You're not even trying to build new ports.
Yeah.
Any new ports
Yeah.
anymore. You just want to feed your
Or
family.
refineries.
And that's when you move. And I
Honestly,
totally understand that.
It's honestly context, because when you talk about stick it here, you're assuming that there's an average person who's already in a job, has some prospects, etc., etc.
That's what I'm assuming. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the assumption. I'm saying
Yes.
because
Yeah.
that's the one that is always often.
Yeah.
wild. You've seen
That
people where
is-
you've seen somebody like there's some guy who I heard is top level in the telco, one of the
Yeah.
major telcos.
Yes.
Top level.
Yeah.
Abandons that job.
Yeah.
And leaves.
Yeah, I mean, so the question is to ask that guy.
This is not someone looking to feed.
Yeah.
Right?
But maybe he looks at
so
his
what-
peers.
what-
Right? There's that peer comparison that I look
Sometimes,
at
yeah.
occasionally. Yeah,
Yeah.
look at your peers.
Is it
Sometimes you're
peer
like, okay, a top telco guy, who's
You
worked
might,
in this industry
it
for
might
5
even,
years, 7
it
years,
might
10
even be
years
to
here
figure
and
out
there.
why the guy's moved. You know, if there's another telco elsewhere in Southeast Asia or somewhere saying a guy of your skills would earn 3x this if you moved. It's all specific. When you talk about sticking it out, there are many people for whom there's no option, where it's like there's nothing to stick. The ground is slippery already. So it's very context specific.
So, in a nutshell, so that we can move on, are we saying now that in Nigeria, the typical people that tend to Japa
yeah.
are employees and not entrepreneurs? do entrepreneurs Japa?
Sometimes I've read one or two
like
tweets.
entrepreneurs who
Yeah.
So how do they so like do they leave their businesses here
Yeah.
and go abroad to set up
No,
a business?
they've basically tried something here, and whether it's governance, rule of law, other things, investors, just cocktail of things that didn't work, and they're like,
so it's entrepreneurs that feel. So are there successful entrepreneurs here?
Yeah.
That have Japa. Plenty.
Okay,
Like
so
live there, thriving.
Plenty.
I'm not saying relocate their family.
define successful. Bro.
I mean like abandon everything.
They,
Wow.
they come
successful.
back regularly, but plenty.
No, as in, forget. I'm talking about saying abandon their business, their idea, their startup. That's what I'm saying now.
Startup continues to work.
It's a different thing if you move. Everybody, you can relocate your family anywhere. That's a different thing. I'm saying that. So what I'm trying to get to here is that Japa mentality where
you abandon everything.
Guy or
you just
a woman,
but
you basically abandon your career here and go start afresh somewhere else. Is it more synonymous with employees or with entrepreneurs?
That whole Japa thing, for me, what Japa means is there are no other options. I need to leave to feed my family or to survive.
So synonymous with employees then?
Likely. Or even entrepreneurs for whom things are not working. Yeah. Because the guy that, Tunji just talked about, where it's like business is doing well, he's left. That guy
just say he hasn't left. He's still here.
No, not him. He comes and goes. Yeah. That guy
buying his American passport.
That guy has options.
$1 million.
He's probably buying, a passport somewhere, or he's like, I made money. Let me see let me actually leave the shop running and then go enjoy the world.
Leave the shop.
That is not Japa.
I like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the point,
or the shed, if you're an Igbo
ladies and
man.
gentlemen, is that if you're watching, if you're trying to stop Nigerians from jackpotting, right, then entrepreneurs got to thrive, because if you have a thriving entrepreneur, then there's really no point. The businesses get created here.
Yeah.
I mean, worst case scenario, they probably have families outside Nigeria.
Yeah.
But did I say families? They have family outside.
Families as in loved ones.
Exactly. Thank you for
Ugo, but
these guys have
before we, I mean, they're probably, but before we segue, I think the one thing to keep in mind is everyone talks about big economies. Let's actually look at big economy, the output versus population strength or population, like per capita is the thing. It's quality of life, it's measure of wealth. We'll say, Nigeria's a big economy, but what's our GDP per capita versus say Botswana, that's a 2 million people and has like $8,000 per capita. It's like, even for the entrepreneurs who are here doing businesses, it's like, what is the average purchasing power of your citizen, of your person?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, but volume matters as well, because there are more people to sell to here, so there's a larger market.
But the purchasing power,
But
what's the purchasing power of the volume you're looking at, right?
At what price?
Isn't that, so I mean,
Yeah.
that also speaks to the sort of products that probably thrive here. That's why products that are at a certain price level tend to do pretty well, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's stuff that everyday people can use, which is what I'm saying. Entrepreneurs solve for bringing people out of poverty.
Which is what we are doing in the next couple of months.
90 days, Abi.
90 days.
We'll come and check again.
Watch out.
We can't wait for that. So let's move into Zuri Watu now.
Yeah.
Right. Just to learn a little bit about what you do. I mean, reading through your profile.
Yeah.
You guys are focused on celebrating African culture and heritage. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
How do you monetize that?
Yeah, I think
is it Afrobeats? Is it not?
No, definitely not Afrobeats. I think for me, like, and for us, like our team, when we think about Africa, for all of us here around the seat, we're economists, we're finance folks and stuff. I think about how much diversification and foreign exchange earnings we would get if we actually did a better job of marketing our culture and tourism. Right? And just let that sit. All the countries we like to go to around the world.
Why hasn't that worked though? Because I mean, that's something we've talked about here.
Because no one's thinking about it in that aggressive way.
How people are
first of all,
you've
security.
had this thinking at the highest.
Security.
I remember Obasanjo, this was one of his major policies.
No. It's a bunch of things. It's security one, PR is another one, communication. It's developing people, like capacity and all that stuff. It's also, when there's money left in the system that hasn't been chopped, that there'll now be abilities to develop these kinds of things. And then nobody's also thinking about multiplier effect as well, because from that tourism, people who are doing transportation services, food, other things, it's just like a massive lift out of poverty.
So how do you solve this problem?
I was in this, is it Ijebu Ode? And we were talking about, I think about $10 million went through Ijebu Ode in that one day.
Yeah.
we don't know how they come up with these numbers.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
this is BBC.
But either
now,
way,
so
think
I
about
like to
Calabar
think that
Carnival
they
from
don't
back
get
in the day,
numbers
right? So okay, because we're in Nigeria and everybody likes to do the whole federal character thing, let's break it down by all of our geopolitical zones, right? And let's break it down into sort of three buckets. There is maybe the geographical natural beauty bucket. There is the events and activities bucket, and then there's the culture and crafts like commodities bucket, right? So let's start across the different geopolitical zones, and I promise you, I'm not going to use Lagos here. I'm not going to use maybe Enugu, any of the big guys, right? So northeast corridor, pick Adamawa for example, right? Adamawa there has from a festival's perspective, there is the Durban Festival, which is like big there. From a sort of natural beauty, there's a national park there. I think it's called Gushaka or something. So ergo safari type stuff. From
So there's a Durban Festival?
Yeah, the Durban Festival, which is like in Adamawa State. It's like in the north. You see a lot of
Durban, not South African Durban.
No, so with the Durbar. It's like a traditional northern festival where there's like a procession, horses, royals going.
Yeah.
It's like like a whole thing there.
Okay.
And then you look at like maybe a craft there could be something like the Kanuri leatherwork, for example. Think about all of the ecosystems around that where people are traveling to a festival or visiting a naturally beautiful site and picking up like these commodities to take back, to their own home country as gifts. Then you move to Northwest. We're talking Kano. Right? Dalala Hills. There's also the same processions there for the circus and the emirs. There is like, there is the indigo, blue pits that we all studied in school. Many of the Gen Z kids are not studying today. Think about how much tourism you would create from people just going there to visit these things and buy these things as well to take home. You go to the Southwest, right? Ogbomosho, Oshun, right? You get the festivals, you get things like Olumo Rock, you get things like Ajaokuta Hills and all of those things. And then you get like Adire and the places where those things are made. It's creating experiences for people. You go to the Southeast, right? Igbo land, again, Oguta is one of those natural UNESCO preserves, Ofala festivals, New Yam festivals in the, summertime. You do the Igbo Oku bronzes. And then I haven't even talked about North Central, Niger State, terracotta.
So I've been hearing you now. You're saying that the way to monetize culture in Nigeria and I guess by extension Africa is through festivals.
These things are already there. They're already there.
So you can actually use them as
you can use them.
So how does that
right?
how would that work? Like
once
Tunji's gonna leave Cape Town and just go to
Wow.
What? No, but like
I do not know where that came from.
I'm just wondering, or maybe like Arnold would just leave his.
Me, I already traveling around
golf,
Nigeria.
like,
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
If there's
I'm
no
ready.
golf resort, Arnold
he's
doesn't
already
go.
tuned
Okay,
in,
yeah,
right?
there's no golf
But
resort.
Wait, which is all the
If there's no
travel
golf
around
resort,
Nigeria?
I tried.
It's
I've been to a
not-
few.
no, but it's
sports
not-
here
Where
and there.
they play golf?
it's not about Arnold and Tunji. It's about Eric, who sat there in America, probably watching us now, and is like, I wonder what Nigeria is like, and does want to come to Lagos.
Yeah.
All people that are going to Cancun, all the kids who are going to Bali, all the girls who are going to
So
Japan.
let's think about that value chain now.
Yes, those are the guys I'm solving.
Let's think about
for.
that value chain, right?
Yes.
And let's start with, let's say you want to go to France
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yep.
So you get your visa, right? So you buy a ticket, land in, I guess, Charles de Gaulle, and you get into your hotel. You probably buy the hop on off or whatever.
Yeah.
Boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get on that bus, takes you around Paris and tells you the history of Paris. And then when you're done, you go, I guess, to maybe
You walk on the sand.
some other
whatever.
place and go visit.
Yeah.
So there's an entire ecosystem and value chain
Yeah.
that
Enables
gets you
all of this.
around these places with some sort of ease, right? And starting from a tour person here who packages that tour for you, right? And you go there and you experience all these things. Same thing with if you're going to Cairo for the first time, right? So you
Marrakesh
go
or-
through, or Marrakesh, you understand that?
Yeah.
So how
How does it work?
does that work here? So
Yeah.
if you're in the US,
Yeah.
right, or you're in Dubai, where
Yeah.
Otumba is,
Yeah.
and you want to come to
Yeah, I know,
Nigeria.
that's that.
Otumba just got
holiday
straight
for-
shot for no, just doing nothing.
Yeah. So how does that work?
So again, the reason I'm saying all of this stuff, for it not to sound theoretical, is in all of these places around the world which we like to visit, somebody somewhere, governments, peoples have said, to get people to our country, we need to make things safe and secure to start with.
Yeah.
Second,
So
we need to
let's
develop
leave
our
security
people.
out, because I don't think there are places
We
that are not secure now.
cannot
So
leave security out.
I understand, but I just want to speak to
Yeah.
what's the value chain that
Yeah.
exists at the moment. Let's
Yeah.
assume that security is okay.
There is no value chain, and that's my point.
Uh-huh.
That's the point of Zuri exactly.
Okay.
There's no value chain,
To
and
create
it's
that value chain.
yes,
Like,
it needs to be a concerted effort of, first of all, us, because if you think about all of us who are around this table, silver foxes, in or out.
I'm
Like
a white fox though. That's it.
fine. We all grew up in times when there was more of an awareness of culture beyond just say like Afrobeats and stuff,
Yeah.
which is great. And the things that we learned in school, it was times of the country where even when NYC used to be what it truly should have been, where you could go around the country,
Yeah.
Jos, Kaduna, Kano, Borno State,
Yeah.
going to Niger, the Sahel, going to Cameroon, all of that stuff. Everyone's afraid now. So you can't leave security out of it. Because infrastructure needs to be there. From a second, then another thing too is that national pride of this is who we are, and at the core of what we do is excellence.
yeah.
At the core of what we do is provide hospitality and great service. And at the core of what we do is because we're not hungry, right? The average citizen, we can host people and do and like put on a proper show. And so it all starts, I think, not just from government, but it starts from a state of what are we trying to build that is finding away from all the things that we're used to these days.
And then, yeah.
And then we go from there. And it's just like classic stuff where once the initiative is out there, Nigerians basically want government out of the way for them to go cook, like as we said on the show. So
I was going to ask,
Yeah.
my first ever time in South Africa
yeah.
was paid for by South African tourism. Ticket, hotel,
What was the
and
occasion?
the
Do we have
experience.
similar?
What was the
here?
occasion? Why did they pay for your one?
Nigerian Tourism Board.
So the
Did
thing
they do the
is,
same?
you win a
the thing-
competition,
No. So basically, the thing is, and this is not unique to South Africa, by the way.
Yeah.
It's all countries
Rwanda
across
does
the
it as
world
well.
that
Does
want
Nigeria do it?
tourism. So they go to a particular country that they feel they've seen a lot of their citizens come in,
Yeah.
and then they want people who have a high visibility.
Platform.
okay.
So they bring you in, then
Yeah.
take you to all the great places. Because
Yep.
of course, you take pictures, you put on your socials,
Yeah.
and then that will inspire more people to want to go.
Yep.
And then, which is really what it was for us,
Yep.
right? So I remember it was taking you to every single place. Because, I think I spent maybe 10 days. I was exhausted
At the end of
when
it.
I was leaving because
Yeah.
it was like it was scheduled. Okay, we have to get to this place. We have to get to this place. So
You
we're
think-
going from
no,
one.
you have to pay for the ticket somehow. no?
So we're going
Yeah.
from one place to another.
Yeah.
But and this is the question I wanted to ask. It's
Mhm.
because you said something about government being out of the way.
Mhm.
I want to believe South
Yeah.
African tourism was a creation of a government agenda for increased tourism into the country.
Yeah.
There's no way because it's government that will create security. It's government
Yeah.
that will create that infrastructure. Rwanda did the same thing with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are we going to bring government to this conversation that
Yeah.
tourism, Nigerian tourism becomes a thing on our forefront?
on our forefront. So this experience you talks about with South Africa, what do you remember what year it was?
It was before COVID. So I
Good.
can't remember when.
So 5 years later on a podcast on a day in July, we're still talking about that trip.
Yeah.
Right. So when I said government should get out of the way, I didn't mean government gets out of the way as in don't do anything. No, I meant Nigerians, and Africans are such that we just want an enabling environment. We're not asking for handouts, and then we'll take it from there. And the enabling environment comes from one, security. Comes from building infrastructure, at least have roads, for example. It comes from someone who is involved, shout out to the Ministry of Tourism, right? To say, you know what, we want to make it such that we can give the oil industry a run for their money when it comes to foreign exchange earnings. And when that happens, then you realize that people who are in those parts of the country, and there's beautiful opportunities across, and I use geopolitical zones again because we're in Nigeria and federal character and everything. But think about how much multiply effects that creates for everyday people, because at the core of what we're trying to do is curating experiences, thoughtful experiences through beautifully crafted products that elevate Nigerians, Africans in ways that lift average people out of poverty, whether it's craft people, whether it's service providers, whether it's logistics people, whether it's distributors. There's a whole value chain. But you need...
I want to, sorry, please forgive me.
course.
Again, so
Yes.
there was another podcast which I saw by no, against my will on social media. But then this girl was talking about the fact that she, during December, they went both to Ghana and both to Nigeria.
Exactly.
But first Nigeria, then to Ghana. And then she said something about when she landed in Ghana, that the calm that she felt, that like Lagos was chaos.
Exactly.
And then Ghana was calm.
Yeah.
And then she felt that ease.
Yeah.
And that in itself, I do remember that the SA tourism thing, they were very curated. And okay, at some point I had to tell the guy, stop now. I want to see the real South Africa, because it's like you are showing me
highly
the
packaged.
Exactly. You're packaging this thing. I want to see the real. I want to go to the streets. I want to see the real people. And they eventually did, because I became a nuisance. I want to see the real South Africa. But I think the thing I'm trying to say is the Dirty December context is already a leg-in for us, especially with tourism. So can we move it just from clubs and partying to clubs and partying, but then sightseeing also?
Yeah.
So we can put in some tours.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been to
that's
Dubai.
happening.
You know the way they inundate you with the amount of things you should be able to do in Dubai.
Yeah.
Can we add that into it?
Yeah,
So
that's happening
that's
because
part of
there
the
are-
value
there are
chain thing
some-
we're talking about, right? Because the thing is that if you, sorry, Chizzy, the thing is that if you look at how Dirty December is often planned, there are certain tour organizers.
Yeah.
But
within
they're
that.
very,
100%. That's
they're
happening.
not, they probably are not institutional, right? So probably individual tour organizers,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Then there are now people who just, they hear that Nigeria is hot, is sweet when it
So they
comes
set
in
it
December, so they come on their own.
Yeah.
So you do need that institutional value chain to plan this thing. So if you're dealing with some very big tour company operating, and you have a lot of them, and they can tell you, look, this is your entire Dirty December plan.
Yeah.
When you come in, we'll party for a few days. It's not just partying.
Yeah.
Then you go sightseeing.
Yeah.
Here and there. But the thing
So-
is that it's also that
And-
mindset shift
and
as well,
also-
because a lot of people see Dirty December as just coming to groove.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So people have to like start to sell other things beyond just
Groove.
the partying.
Yeah, but
Groove
also I think
and-
we should also break that negative sentiment of when you land in Lagos is chaotic. It's not chaotic.
I think it's
anymore.
just.
It is.
It still is.
I don't agree.
It still is.
It's been very
Still
calm
is.
for me
No,
this year.
I also disagree. I do.
Yeah,
I'm on Anon's side
It's
as
been
well.
very calm this year.
Yeah.
I
Let
don't
me
know
remind
what that
you.
chaotic.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's not
compared.
chaotic anymore.
No, it's
You
a-
have just
it's a-
passed through immigration.
That's
It's
part
a-
of. It's called dirty for a reason.
It's not even so.
Because even
not meant to
if
be
you look at
soft.
the same period, if you look at the same period in landing okay, I don't want to
Accra.
compare Accra to Lagos now.
Yeah.
But it's also quite busy.
no,
right?
but let's do it
But
side by side.
Lagos International Airport is not as chaotic as it used to be. It's very calm this
What
year.
happens when
Sure.
when it's
Extremely calm.
Chinese New Year? Have you seen what
Yeah,
happens
so
in China?
if you're landing in a festive period,
Yeah.
you're going to be busy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
it's
matter
gotta
the
be.
airports.
And
You'll be
besides,
busy.
the journalists
But
we've only
there
got
are-
one terminal,
Yeah,
one and a half
so-
terminal.
No, like I think
I think I would really love to
We
break
gotta
that.
move on though.
that
But
whole
Yeah.
thing.
after
the one
Champion
thing
is-
the one thing I'll
is
just
in the
say,
podcast
right,
you're
it's like to
talking about.
Arnold's point about I guess Lagos not being as chaotic. It's all relative, right? It's all relative versus Accra and stuff. Population size, city strike, density, all that stuff.
correct.
But I'd actually like to see a future in which Dirty December is not just a Lagos and Abuja story. What about Jos, Mina, Enugu,
love Jos.
Owerri, Uyo, Calabar?
I love
But it's
Jos.
happening in
Right?
those places too.
No,
Yeah, there's
It
festivals
is
happening
because there's
now.
festival. Like
But
I
no,
have,
but
I have
festivals
families, I have
happening.
friends who are
Is it
coming in.
curated?
Yeah, they were like
That's a
Bonny-
different
Bonny
thing.
where I'm from.
We're just saying
Yeah,
Lagos
there's
because we're in
festivals in
Lagos.
Bonny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
around
They're
that
not in the
period.
south. Like I know people who I've spent Dirty December in the southeast a few times.
Yeah.
And from the 26th
Yeah,
till the 15th,
Ugo. Ugo,
one activity or the other.
ADG, Tunji, but you kids are Nigerian. The kid from America
Yeah.
or
Who
from
wants to
France
experience
Lagos
this?
now.
is not exactly.
Yes.
And that's what I mean by
That's
moving
it.
away.
But they still travel abroad.
I
Anyway.
rest my case, my lord.
All right, thank you all so much.
But thank you for what you do because
Yeah.
it's
It's
important.
amazing. It's amazing, and we're going to have a one-on-one on this on this later on the other show, Talknomics.
And he
But
can tell us about his other things in 90 days. We can invite him, see if he'll tell us.
we know how
90
we know how we
days.
get Tunji. So we'll move on to the last segment of the show, buy, sell, or hold. But before we get to buy, sell, or hold, let's use this opportunity to thank our sponsors, of course, Lead Drop. For the amazing drinks. Good to see that Tunji is respecting the Glen.
Drinking
today.
responsibly.
Yeah, he's
I
drinking
wonder
quite
why. It's your
responsibly
birthday.
today. I guess
I'm
it's his birthday.
shocked.
It's
He
the white
plans
cap.
something. He plans something for later.
It's the white cap
so
time.
It's the after
Maybe
party
that's why he's taking it
because
easy.
if it's not now, what happened?
So that explains it. Of course, thanks as well to Cordius Capital, our partner as
Yes.
well. So if you're looking to invest,
Big C.
Cordius Capital is there.
Yes.
We also have CFG Africa, by the way, part of our sponsors as well on the show. And we do have UAC. UAC is also one of our partners as well. Of course, if you're looking to partner with us on Drinks and Mics, do reach out to us on any of our social media platforms, and we'll get to you. Of course, we do have our books here. There's Vantage by one of our guests, and we have 13 winners already. So we're going to be sending these books over to them pretty soon. Vantage from another Otumba himself, Olumide Shion, but not the fake Otumba that we
Do
have.
guests get a copy?
Sorry, it's Sir now.
Yeah,
Sorry,
thank you.
Sir Arnold.
Thank you.
Sir
Of course,
Arnold.
we've got corporate stories written by yours sincerely.
I need to
The
get one
creation of
these,
stories, interesting stories. You should get it. An Arametrics book. So that is also going out to some winners as well. Yeah, so we go right.
No, before we
even get there, we are having our live. Finally, you know, this Tunji's baby. So our live audience is happening very soon. If I don't have that live audience, just know that I'm not coming back to this show. They will kick me out because Tunji was that live. So live audience happening. So the next time you're going to be seeing us, you're going to be seeing a different set. A live audience happening next week on Drinks and Mics. Not a lot of people, very selected people. But if you're lucky to be one of those who are going to be in our audience, I'm sure you'd have a good treat. It's like a 2-in-1 session. So I don't want to leave out. Drop a lot of stuff.
Can I make a request?
Sure.
Let's handpick one or two of Tunji's trolls and put them in the audience as well.
Leave the guys.
No, by the way,
There's a lot we're
Tunji,
working
uncle,
on.
the nation's uncle.
It's a lot of Tunji's fan boys are likely going to be there, so it's going to happen.
Come to a grocery shop.
that is-
flies.
that is coming pretty soon. All right, so we go straight to buy, sell, or hold. Quickly, buy, sell, or hold. I'm going to start with you, Cheesy. I like to start on my left. I don't want to start with you first. And buy, sell, or hold theme is basically around some of the things we're talking about. You can see Arnold trying to sneak in and check what I have here, but he ain't saying nothing. Buy, sell, or hold. Buhari was the worst president ever. By the way, buy means yes, sell means no, hold means you're neutral on it. So Buhari is the worst president Nigeria ever had. Buy, sell, or hold.
I would say hold for a couple of reasons, because we've had, I'd say, worse folks contextually in the military era in terms of just
worst leader. So I know I said worst president.
yes.
Worst
So that's how I would just put it. I would say hold.
So hold.
Yes.
Arnold?
Yeah, I'll say hold. I think that it was a tough period for the country. It was a tough period for the world. It's a tough period for a lot of African countries. I don't know whether
Sorry, my God.
I don't know whether I'll say he did his best. I don't know, but I just think it's unfair to paint that brush. So I'll say hold.
Tunji.
It's a strong buy. very, very strong.
Jesus.
The buy
There's no buy.
is a buy.
There's no sellish.
It's a bullish buy.
Is a bullish buy. Oh my god!
It's a, as you said, it's a buy and a half.
It's a buy and a half because even the leader before him that we thought that people said was he did no, it's hey buy.
Anyway,
How about
this guy,
you?
me?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a sell.
Okay.
I think it's a sell for me because I think the worst leader we ever had would be Abacha. Right. I don't know who's beat that yet. Yeah. And no ramification. I didn't say economically. I said
Okay. I was thinking more economically. But
yeah.
So I was thinking about all of those things.
Yeah,
I said
in general, I kind of think Abacha was terrible.
Pretty brutal,
right?
yeah.
I think it was terrible. Terrible. Oh my god. Yeah. So if you think back, if you leave that era,
Yeah.
I think to me, I think it was terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be.
But it was your top three.
Who was my top three? We didn't say top three. We didn't say top three. We just
No, I'm
said we
asking.
said worst.
I'm asking.
My top three. Of course.
I think
Anyway,
I
so
can
we'll
see
go on to the next buy, sell,
that
hold.
you like to look for trouble.
Buy, sell, or hold. Either of this would probably trigger.
Two of them.
No, what would trigger the next? What will bust the bubble that we're seeing?
In the markets.
Yeah.
Okay.
What will bust the bubble that we're seeing? So let me know which one you're buying, which one you're selling, which one you're holding. Geopolitical tensions, hiking in interest rates, credit, or something similar to what happened in 2008, which was a credit crunch.
Credit bubble. Good
Yeah,
question.
Credit crunch. So
Yeah.
which one? Or number 4, as Stingy did put it, maybe like that. No, let's leave that at 3.
So 3.
Yeah.
I'll start with, so we said geopolitical credit events.
Yeah. Geopolitical hike in interest rates,
Yeah.
credit crunch.
I'll
So which
hold.
one are you buying?
I'll hold, in terms of bursting the bubble. I'll hold sort of central bank activity hiking stuff because they need a bit more data. It might go either way. I will actually. I'll sell credit event because there's a lot more like handcuffs around regulation around the world. In Asia, you see, in Europe as well. And then I'll actually buy, a fractional share of geopolitical risk because there are too many madmen in power these days. And I'll leave it at that.
Would you buy that? You said you
Yeah,
buy
it
it.
says
I'll
buying
buy
that.
that.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah.
Arnold?
So is it what's most likely to happen, or what will?
Yeah, so
To
what
burst the bubble.
will bust the bubble?
What will burst the bubble?
Assuming we're in a bubble now.
Yeah.
I think hike in Fed fund rates. Yeah, I think that will definitely cause a bubble to bust because we talked about increased cost of capital. I think that a lot of people start looking at themselves and trying to figure out what they hold. What am I holding? Does it really make sense to hold this? I think that for sure. Geopolitical risk is a weird one because people seem to have shrugged off anything that has been thrown at them since April, right? Trump is still trying to figure out whether he wants to reciprocate tariffs. Nobody cares anymore.
Or what he wants to do with Russia.
Iran.
What wants to
and
do
so
with
forth.
Russia? Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Obviously, the war, Iran and Israel, Marcus shrugged that off as well.
Straight of Hormuz. Yeah.
Shockingly.
Yeah. It's called the Strait didn't shut down.
Yeah. So geopolitical, I'm not sure what the market is expecting from there. So for me, it's a hike in the Fed fund rate for sure. Buy. And what was the other one? Credit crunch.
Yeah.
Credit crunch.
I think if we continue to go, if a hike comes in, a credit crunch comes in, and the bubble gets bust. So yeah.
So you're buying that as well.
Yeah, buy that as well.
To buy all 3.
I'm not buying geopolitical. I'm not
You're holding.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, because so far what I've seen from recent geopolitical madness is just a shrug off.
Stingy?
It's a shrug off.
And by the way, for anyone watching, this is not a challenge to scatter everything. It's just like let's keep doing
Why
this.
not?
Yeah. I'm just
Scatter
scattering. Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold on all 3 because I don't think any of them will bust the bubble. Because if you just look at every market across the world, there is a decoupling. The decoupling has become the
The norm.
buzzword. Everybody's decoupling from the structural financial setup that we always knew. And I do not think because we saw Iran, Israel, the conflict that was supposed to be everybody didn't care. Russia, Ukraine,
old news.
nobody really cares.
Yeah.
Maybe if the United States throws a bomb into the UK.
Please.
No, I'm just saying.
Please.
But
This is not a
the
challenge
truth about
again.
it is that we've seen several conflicts that 10 years in the past would have thrown the world into chaos. But nobody really cares anymore. And that's because there's been a constant decoupling. So I'm hold on all of them.
But don't you think, the trade could now be, right? Let's say, for example, I'm thinking about decoupling, right? So thinking about assets that are not normally correlated, but they're correlated now. I'm going to talk about gold. Again, and equity, and
No drinks and mics without gold.
Do you know what we need? We need a bell. Sorry, energy.
Every time it says gold.
No, because I'm thinking about something now. I'm thinking about something now, right? And maybe I need to sleep on it a little bit. But yes, there's something happening that's making things correlate where they don't normally correlate, right? But don't you think the trade would be to now wait for that, to take a position to wait for that thing to not correlate? So, for example, gold is going up, S&P is going up. So what I'll be doing is just buying gold and shorting S&P.
Contrarian trade,
because maybe this thing will happen now where everything will go back to normal. The mean reversion trade, right? So don't you think that this minus is happening? The actual trade now is to position yourself for the madness to
revert itself.
Yeah. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And I do believe that, the weird thing is that Trump, this is final term, right? So he can't run for election anymore. And it is very possible that the world actively tries to return back to
back to some sort of normal, what we know.
Some sort of what we know after his exit. However, when he's still there, it will not. But I would not bet against the fact that the world will actively try to go back.
So buy, sell, or hold for me. I think I would buy geopolitical. I think that a geopolitical event would burst the bubble. I don't think we've seen any major geopolitical event yet. There's just a lot of posturing. I hope we don't, but I think a major geopolitical event that involves China would rattle markets.
Who would dare?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I said that would involve China. I don't see interest rate being any major issue. Rather, I think rates are going to come down. But I do see credit, a credit bubble a credit crunch being a problem, and that's because of the level of debt we're seeing the US accumulate right now. Which countries are accumulating. Like, I think the world is at some high debt level that it's disturbing that it's not disturbing to the people that know, right? So I don't know. I'm just a little bit worried about that.
It's a good
Maybe
point.
Japanese start to sell US bonds, US treasuries, or Chinese.
Japanese
I don't know,
retail.
but I kind of feel like that
I agree.
these are the areas. So for that, I kind of buy.
Yeah.
All right. So last buy, sell, or hold, guys. It's something softer, just to make us, a little bit softer. So I know all your summer holidays are planned. Some people are going to,
But I haven't talked to you
UK,
about my
some people
summer
are going to
plans.
Cape Town. The people that I know, right? They're going to several places. Some people are going to. There's somebody who said he's going. Where did he say he was? Rwanda. He said he was going to
Afghanistan.
Yeah. Somebody like here said he was traveling recently. Now
I think it's Cape Town.
No, it wasn't Cape Town. There's somebody who said he was traveling.
Who is that?
He said he's not around for a bit.
But is it
Greece?
Greece.
Some people are going.
So we're going to Greece. Yeah.
And are these people?
What are we talking about?
Do these people wear white
He knows
kaftans?
himself.
No, it's not a white cap.
He knows himself. He
Not
knows
here.
himself.
Not here. Okay, one of us.
It's going to
Okay,
Greece.
going to Greece. Okay.
Yeah. No, but he can't resist the holiday.
Yeah,
he lives the dream.
So I'm just trying to do a buy, sell, or hold for
Okay.
summer holiday for next year.
Okay.
So buy, sell, or hold summer holiday for next year. In a Nigerian city, in any of the geopolitical zones. Buy, sell, or hold. I'm going to hold you to this, man.
I would actually, my co-founder can hold me to this. I would buy one in the south, probably Uyo or Calabar.
Summer next year.
Summer next
No,
year.
that's too easy now because that's those are the only.
Is it your summer?
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
but what I just said is sacrilegious because I'm an Igbo man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Uyo is lovely though. I like
But
it.
Uyo is lovely. So I'm like,
Yeah,
why?
Uyo is nice.
Is it your
like,
summer?
it's like
ATG, buy sell hold.
I was
Please,
in Uyo a couple of weeks ago.
please
That's-
discount golf places from your
yeah.
buy sell hold.
So
Buy
what's
sell
the
hold.
question?
Buy sell.
Am I going?
Are you spending summer in Nigeria?
Next
If
year.
yes, if it's a buy sell hold, you're spending summer in Nigeria.
I mean,
If
summer
it's a buy,
span
which
was
geopolitical
6
zone?
weeks, right? So
Oh God.
Which geopolitical
there's
zone?
gonna be summer's a long time.
Yeah.
Am I spending the whole 6 weeks here?
I don't know whether it's a week or two. Really, like
Yeah, you know what? While we're at it, yeah, I'll buy summer in Nigeria.
So, which geopolitical zone?
Oh, good lord.
Are you thinking of like? You just gave us examples now.
Yeah, I need to think. Well,
Northeast, Adamawa, Northwest.
okay,
Kano.
but this is more personal,
Yeah.
right? So you know, I'm my family. I'm from Bonny, right? And this is a place that I want to visit more, and I think there's so much more to be done. There's a Bonny to Port Harcourt bridge that's getting built, which I think boosts, encourages tourism, and I want to explore Bonny more. So I see myself there a lot more. So December this year,
Fantastic.
summer next year, I'll be
Soon
in
you
Bonny.
buy sell or hold.
Okay.
I'd love to go to Jos.
Buy sell or hold summer in Nigeria next year. Not I would love to.
Why are you being? Why are you? It's his birthday. Don't be mean.
his
to him.
birthday.
Buy, sell, or hold. Tunji has this buy, sell, sellish, hold.
Yeah.
Way of
Yes.
escaping
So
question.
that
you see.
is it.
Yeah.
That is it.
It's a selfish holding.
No.
Buy shit.
Oh my God. and then
But
he
it
says
makes-
like, you said things like,
I
and
need
he
to
said
know-
like
10 exits.
things like buy, you know, buy.
Can you just
I need to-
10x your buy.
Wait,
Yeah.
I need to know if it makes sense to anybody, but because it makes solid sense to me. It's a holdish buy.
Oh God.
And everybody's just
Because you know what you need.
Even the guys in the back.
Just get a small cane from Junior Amazon. And a gavel.
No. So what I mean is, for instance, like Jos doesn't have. So for instance, if that resort that was in Uyo could move to Jos, I would never go to Uyo again, right? Because Jos the weather is beautiful, it's absolutely amazing.
It's on a hill.
It's on a hill.
Yeah.
The air is clean. It's just a beautiful place, but it doesn't have nice hotels.
Yeah.
So they need to build hotels in Jos to be able to allow you go. But yeah, I would like places. It's just that particular resort seems to be the only place we can go in Nigeria.
Yeah.
But I don't like it a lot because they've not really upgraded
Yeah,
it
they
in a
haven't
while.
taken care of it.
You know, one of my personal grouses. I wish they'd done more with the Budu Cattle Ranch.
Yes.
Right? But
buy sell or hold? Buy sell or hold. For me, next year summer. It's a buy. It's a buy for me.
Oh, yeah?
What zone?
Where?
It's a buy.
Are you sure you don't think about your wallet?
No, it's a buy. It's a buy.
Wait,
I mean,
wait.
summer this
Where would
year
you
is
go?
also a buy as well. I'm spending
where are you
spending
going?
part of summer in the southeast.
nice.
Yeah, this year. So next year as well, I'm probably going to spend part of summer in the southwest.
Oh, lovely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Next year. So yeah, so buy for me. And that is it for Drinks and Mics. By the way, buy, sell or hold Cheesy on the show.
Oh,
buy, sell or hold.
Bye.
Buy. No sellish buy.
Please, we no
Buy.
buy. We need
10x
we need a
buy.
lot. We need
Or
a lot.
I wonder what the comments
10x.
say. Like,
So buy for you, Cheesy. So when is it buy for you? Give
Thank you,
cheers.
guys.
Cheers.
cheers, guys.
All right, so this has been Drinks and Mics brought to you by Nairametrics. And until we do this again next week, do have a profitable week ahead. Bye.